Can you speak to me again, Miss Bridgewater?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I haven't seen you in a long
Okay.
time.
For some reason, I can't hear you. I'm going to have to see if I can figure out what's going on with me. So I will
Okay.
maybe try to log in from a different device.
Okay. Hello, everybody else.
Good afternoon, Ms. Bridgewater.
Judge, can you hear me now?
Okay, let me try it again. Can you hear me now, Miss Bridgewater? Can you speak with to me?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Thank
Okay.
you. Hope
Well, while
everyone's
we're
well this
speaking, let me give you the perspective. Uh, they, the SAP calendar is July 16th.
July 16th. Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. Okay, I guess we'll get started when courtroom two joins us.
We have a huge calendar today.
We do. Did you were you here on Saturday?
Yes.
Yes. And how was the calendar on Saturday?
Big.
Oh, okay.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Courtroom 2, are we ready to begin?
I'm ready, Your Honor. I know there's a lot of special requests, but I have a certain order. There's too many people to try to jumble through all these.
Norris, we're gonna do it the way you want to do it, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate
All
it.
right, you just let me know. Let me go ahead and address everyone as a whole, and we can get started. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. If you have any objection to having your case heard by video, please let me know when you come before me. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're allowing you, if you choose, to use the services of a public defender today. Who do we have first?
This is going to be position number 38, Ms. LaTasha Wright.
Good afternoon. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004264F with battery, affray, and possession and use of drug-related items. Is there a history?
This defendant, the last arrest was August the 20th, 2023 out of Fulton County for simple battery, family violence. With the exception of the restricted charge, the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 3. There was a felony conviction in 2020 for forgery, misdemeanor conviction in 2023 for battery, family violence. That was that last arrest out of Fulton County. SB 63 does not allow a UJR release through pretrial for the charge that's restricted. However, they do allow release through the pretrial release program, the DA's pretrial intervention or diversion program, or the 10% program via USCR 27. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Desiano.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident took place on June 30th, 2024. Officers responded to the intersection of Parks Place and Edgewood Avenue in reference to a fight. Upon arrival, the officers saw the fight still in progress between 3 individuals, one of whom was the defendant. The officer also watched the defendant disengage from the fight, go grab a thing of pepper spray, and then spray the victim, Chestiran Finkley. The victim had watery, bloodshot eyes and red skin around the eyes. Search incident to her lawful arrest. They found a crack pipe. The state is recommending a $3,500 good bond in this case, $2,500 on the battery, $750 on the affray, and $250 on the drug-related objects. No further contact with Mr. Finkley, taking complete 2 days of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if we could sound for Mr. Finkley.
Mr. Finkley is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Good afternoon, Ms. Kim. Is this your case?
Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Wright is 33 years old, and she was born and raised here in Georgia, Your Honor. She denies the allegation. She does not even know Mr. Williams, and she doesn't, she believes that she was the one who was attacked, jumped on by these 2 guys, and she wanted to defend herself. She is gainfully employed at Dollar General, and she also completed a GED after completing 9th grade at high school. And right now, she has to take care of 3 minor children. She's very responsible for her children and her job. We would like to request for signature on bond, Your Honor, because of probation violation. She is not going anywhere. It will take at least couple weeks to get her any bond for that. And also, Your Honor, she has a foreign county hold, so she will be in the jail quite a bit, Your Honor. Thanks.
Okay. For the battery, it'll be $1,000 good bond. For the affray, a $500 good bond. For the possession and use of drug-related items, a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Mr. Finkley. Stay away from the incident location. and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. I'll readdress that bond at the SAP calendar on July 16th, Ms. Cam, once we deal with the probation violation, okay?
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you, ma'am. Who do we have next?
Your Honor, this is going to be position number 19, Mr. Kyrie Martin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Martin. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004262H with possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under 18 years of age. Is there a history?
This defendant has no history and is recommended for a UJR level 1 with parental cosigner. Nothing further to report.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Peter Thomas. Is this your case?
Yes, this is my case, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Your Honor, the state's recommendation for this case is a $10,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and stay away from the incident location and to have no contact with a potential victim in this case. I understand the charge, but there is a potential victim in this case. The charge itself stems out of an allegation that Mr. Martin, in conjunction with a co-defendant who's on the calendar today, as well as several other individuals, made basically an armed robbery attempt and actually succeeded at that, and ran away from the location. They were subsequently caught up with by officers, and I believe the officer chose to charge this because the person who is the victim of said armed robbery stated that he would not like for charges to be pressed. But that is the state's request, Your Honor. And for the victim in this that we would like for him to stay, have no contact with, it's Kenneth, Kenneth, Driscoll, Driskel. And if we could sound for Mr. Driscoll in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated. The location for him to stay away from is 105 Peachtree Street Southwest in Atlanta, Georgia, but there's nothing further to add from the state at this time.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Ty.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. My client is 17 years old. He just turned 17 April 28th of this year. This is his very first arrest. As you heard, he's recommended for a signature bond through pretrial services with the parent cosigner. I was in touch with his mother, Tanika Sears. She stated that she would be joining the call. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. He is a rising senior at Lovejoy High School in Clayton County. He is set to graduate May 2025. He is on the basketball team there. Because this is his very first arrest and he does have the parent cosigner, I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services with his mother co-signing that bond.
And I'd just like to give the name of the co-defendant, which is Mr. Willcox, who's on the calendar today. Mr. Willcox.
Thank you. Ms. Sears, I see you there. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. You'll need to unmute yourself and activate your camera for me. Okay, can you hear me, Ms. Sears?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Ms. Sears, are you in a situation that you'd like your son back in the household with you?
Yes, I would.
And are you willing to come and sign him out?
Yes, I am.
Is there anything else that you'd like to tell me about your son?
I mean, you already know that this is his first time being in trouble or definitely any arrest or anything like that. And like you said, he did deny those accusations.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Sears. Let's see. It'll be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. He's to have a curfew from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. No further contact with Kenneth Driscoll, stay away from the incident location, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay,
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Martin.
thank you.
You're welcome.
This is gonna be position number 35, the co-defendant, Mr. Willcox.
Okay. Mr. Willcox, let's see, you've been charged in case 24 CR 004252C with possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under 18 years of age. Anything, let's see, to add, Ms. Essiano?
No, Your Honor, the facts are the same. The state's requesting a $10,000 good bond to stay away from the incident location, 105 Peachtree Street, no further contact with Kenneth Driscoll, a curfew in light of his age, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
Okay. Ms. Hardy, is there a history?
This defendant doesn't have a history, and is also recommended for a UJR level 1 with parental cosigner.
Okay. Let's see, Mr. Flowers, if you're driving a vehicle, you need to pull over for me or not be on the Zoom call. Okay, Dwight Flowers, if you're driving a vehicle, you need to pull over. Who's representing Mr. Willcox? We have a conflict defender today.
Yes, Your Honor, I am representing Mr. Willcox. I'm having some difficulty with my video.
Okay, you're fine, Ms. McLeod. I know that you're there. I know your voice. So, are you ready to proceed on Mr. Willcox?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Willcox is 17 years old, Your Honor. He is currently a student at Fulton Leadership Academy with his dad in East Point. I have spoken with his dad, who has the same name, Frederick Willcox, and he is on the Zoom, Your Honor, and he is willing to co-sign for his son. Of course, my client disputes the allegations. He tells me a completely different story, which, if it turns out that this is accurate, will completely exonerate him, I believe, Your Honor. So I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond to the trial, as Dad will be willing to sign for it. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Hey, Mr. Willcox, I see you there. If you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to unmute yourself, sir.
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Willcox. Can you raise your right hand for me? The other right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. So your son lives in the household with you?
Yes.
And you're willing to, and you want him to continue to live in the household with you?
Yes.
And you're willing to come sign him out?
Yes.
Is there anything else that you'd like to tell me about your son?
I don't understand what he's doing. I know he's a good kid. I'm lost on this one.
Okay. Thank you for being here, Mr. Willcox. It will also be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from the incident location. He's to have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay.
All right. Good luck to you, both of you, Mr.
One question.
Yes, sir.
Where do I come? I come to the jail to sign it?
Right. It'll take some time for him to be processed out. So you might want to call down before you come.
Okay, thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Good luck to you, sir.
Next is going to be position number 1, Mr. Blue.
Good afternoon, Mr. Blue. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004254D with battery, family violence, and criminal trespass. Is there a history?
This defendant does not have any history to report. And the charge is restricted. However, SB 63 does allow UJR release through a pretrial release program, the DA's pretrial intervention or diversion program, or the 10% program. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, the brief facts of the case is that on 6/30/2024, the officers responded to a dispute at 100 Alene, Allene Avenue Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia, and Fulton County, Georgia. When they arrived, they separated both parties. The allegation against the defendant in this case, Mr. Blue, is that one moment. Is that he bit the victim in this case on the arm. The victim is Shania Britt, Britt, and that he also, I believe, damaged her iPhone 13 by throwing it in the sewer while they were traveling back to the home. Fortunately enough, our office was able to get in contact with Ms. Britt, and she stated that they are in an on-again, off-again relationship. They do not live together. However, they share one child together. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated that they have gotten into arguments before, but she said that this is the first time that it has turned physical. The victim stated that she is not in fear of the defendant and is okay with having contact. I do believe she's on the call, so if you could sound for her in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated, Your Honor. The recommendation from the state is to defer to the court in light of the recently enacted SB 63. The special request from the state is that he has no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. He has no contact with the victim. He stays away from the incident location, and that he completes a family violence intervention program. Nothing further to add at this time.
Okay, if Shanice Britt is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. I see a Shanice Thompson. I'm not sure if this is the same person, but if so, if you'd like to address the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me, ma'am.
I'm sorry. What is this about?
Are you
Hello?
Shanice Britt?
Shanice Brett.
Your Honor, I believe the complaining witness's name is Shania Britt. So I don't
I
believe
don't
the
know nothing.
Thompson
I'm
is that.
sorry.
Okay.
Hey, I'm on the call, but I have to pull over to turn my camera on.
Okay. Well, if you would like to address the court, you're going to have to do that very quickly, ma'am.
John, I think it's a different name.
Okay.
It is Shania Britt. My apologies.
Okay, well, that's fine. Y'all can go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon. Is this your case, Ms. Thomas? Good afternoon.
This is my case, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, we'll be requesting a signature bond. Mr. Blue does strongly deny the allegations. He did confirm with me that he and Miss Britt were in a relationship. They do share a child, a daughter, younger than years old. They do not reside together. He currently lives with his mother. I hadn't been able to get in touch with her, but he does reside with her, and he does get financial assistance from his mother. He did express that it would not be an issue. We would defer to the court as far as contact. We are asking for no further violent contact, but if the court is not inclined, we will be asking to allow contact through a third neutral party. Mr. Blue is currently 18 years of age. He just turned 18 this month. He is currently obtaining his GED, taking courses online. He's also gainfully employed. He currently works at the Taco Bell, and he's been employed there for several months now, Your Honor. Again, he does deny the allegations, and we are requesting a signature bond on his behalf.
Okay, for the battery, there'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the criminal trespass, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with Ms. Britt. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Britt.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Who do we have next?
Next is going to be position number 2, Mr. Bradshaw, Devon Bradshaw.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bradshaw. You've been charged in case 24CR004253C with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Good afternoon.
Bear with me, Your Honor, while I pull, okay. This, last arrest for this defendant was April the 15th, 2024, out of Nevada for a DUI. They have arrest cycles out of Georgia, California, Virginia, Florida, Louisiana, and Nevada. Misdemeanor conviction in 2019 for driving while license suspended or revoked. The charge is restricted. There's no recommendation from pretrial at this time.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that on March 22nd, 2024, the officer responded to 401 17th Street Northwest in regards to dispute. While there, they spoke with the victim, Mrs. Isis, ICYZ Bale, who stated that her boyfriend, the accused in this case, punched her in the face. She stated that they had left the mosque and was driving, at which point he received a call. He was talking to another woman. She got upset. So at which point he punched her in the face, leaving a laceration above her right eye. The recommendation and at some point he drug her out of the vehicle and drove off. And the recommendation from the state is a $3,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a no contact with the victim, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. Our office was fortunate enough to get in contact with the victim in this case. She stated that they're no longer in a relationship and they no longer live together. They share no children. She stated that the incident was at her residence, and so we'd asked for a stay away from the residence of 329 14th Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia. And she stated that the defendant had been coming back to her residence and has been violent with her, and that she has been calling the police, but the defendant would not leave the residence before officers had finally gotten there. She stated that the defendant came to her residence yesterday and broke into her home and stole her money, her keys, and her dog. She stated that she called the police and said that she wanted him arrested on the warrant. The victim stated that she wants no contact with the defendant and she wants him to stay away from her residence. As I previously stated, I do believe that she's on the call, so if we can sound for in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated. And the state would like to amend its request to a $5,000 surety bond, but there's nothing further to add at this time, Your Honor.
If Ms. Bale is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Okay, Ms. Thomas.
Hello.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Good afternoon, Ms. Bell. If you will raise your right hand for me. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
He has been beating on me the entire 4 years we was together. He had a case in California where he beat on me and he made me go inside and tell them to remove the case and that they didn't want to, that it was a no violent restraining order or something like that, that he could have contact with me, but it just couldn't be violent. And that was in California about 2 years ago. Helicopters had to come because he was
Yeah, and
beating
I'm gonna
on
have to object to this
you know.
line of testimony, Your Honor, for which Mr.
Okay.
Bradshaw hasn't been charged for these allegations.
Okay. Ms. Bell, first of
The
all,
officers who came
Ms. Bell,
yesterday
Ms.
were
Bell,
not
Ms. Bell, Ms. Bell, you have to stand still for me, okay? Stand still. Okay, I don't need you moving around because it's hard to follow you. Okay, so if you'd like to tell me about this battery family violence that allegedly occurred on March 22nd of this year. Can you do that?
Okay. Yes, we was leaving the masjid and we was right here in front of my house and he started beating on me and pulling me out the car. And then he took all my stuff and threw it out the car and left. And every day during Ramadan, he came to my door beating it and breaking it down. And I could show you like the door right now where it's messed up because he keeps breaking my door down. That I don't know why they didn't charge him for that. I put the files on for that, and then I called the police. I was in contact with Officer Henderson and Officer Davis, and they were responding in less than 5 minutes, and he would already be gone from the location. He left and went to Vegas for a couple months and came back yesterday and was just in a rampage with his entire family. Even his mother came back after they arrested him. His mother and brother came back last night and proceeded to bang on my door and try to break it down. But I have special locks on there so that can't nobody get in. And I called the police, and the police did not come until, it didn't even call me back until 1 o'clock in the morning. And this happened around 8 o'clock at night, right after the officer squad car pulled off with him. And that's what they do. They sit outside of my home. It's not just him, it's his brother and his mother and his sisters. And the front office have even told them, y'all are not allowed on this premises. I came home yesterday to my entire belongings took, all of the money and everything. It's hard to work and get shit back after a breakup like that. Everything that I worked for, he came in here and got a locksmith to change my locks and took all of my stuff, my emotional support animal, everything.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry that you're going through that, Ms. Bell. Thank you for being here this afternoon. Ms. Thomas, you're welcome. Ms.
Thank
Thomas?
you. Sorry, Your Honor. Am I on? Oh, I'm not on yet. Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, Mr. Bradshaw struggling denies these allegations, and then even stole the testimony provided by Ms. Bell. These are the first of which that we've heard these allegations. He is also denying those allegations as well. Mr. Bradshaw expressed to me that they have not had any contact for several months. The only contact that they've had is Mr. Bradshaw did return to the residence with his family to collect his belongings, in which he gathered his couches and some other personal items. And then that is when he was informed of the outstanding warrant and he was taken into custody. Mr. Bradshaw is 26 years of age, Georgia resident, Your Honor. Some family does reside in Georgia as well. They do not share any children. He has no issue and does not want any contact with Miss Bell. The residence in which they once shared, he did express to me that his name was on the lease, but he hasn't been at that residence, and he does have another residence in which he is residing. He does have one child that is on the way. Mr. Bradshaw also completed some college, and he is presently self-employed. He does little odd jobs. He has his own company that he's getting off the ground called Little Man Logistics. He does some cleaning with his mother, and he also does some Airbnb rentals, Your Honor. We're asking for the court to set a reasonable bond amount in this case, Your Honor, if Mr. Bradshaw is ineligible for a signature bond.
Okay. It's a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Bell. Stay away from her residence. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
And Your Honor, can I get that SAP date again?
July 16th.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your Honor.
Mr. Bradshaw, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. Ms. Thomas, would you like to advise your client?
Mr. Bradshaw, if it's anything about today's bond hearing or anything about your case, I do advise that you remain silent, as the solicitors are listening and will use any testimony that you provide against you. If you have any questions regarding your case, please feel free to give me a call at the conclusion of today.
Yes, ma'am. I was just going to speak for my character because I don't like I'm being
so, why don't you, I understand that you want to do that. Mr. Bradshaw, you might want to listen to what Ms. Thomas has to say in that regard, because this is being live streamed. Anything you say can be used against you today or at a later time, sir. So you might.
That I've been dealing with substance abuse from the victim. That's what she's going through. She's abusing drugs, and she sometimes get very violent. All I try to do is leave. She always put her hands on me, and it always escalates. I just run or leave. You know, and I was raised by a single mother that had to actually deal with a man beating on her. And I don't take that lightly of putting hands on women. I don't do it, you know. And she told me in her last relationship, the guy she was with beat her and wouldn't let her leave. And she keeps saying that people is beating her. So now I believe that it's something that's made up in her head, and she's beating herself due to the substance control that she's abusing herself with these Percocet pills. She takes many of them a day, 5 or 6, and I just can't seem to get things under control with her. So I decided to end the relationship after she misplaced some of my goods and my dog. It was a Frenchie. She said it was stolen when we was moving, and come to figure out she has the dog down there. So that's the only reason I came back to get my couch with my receipt, because I wanted that Frenchie bulldog that I was planning on breeding. She said it was stolen. She had officers pull up to 370 Northside Drive, where we used to live, to search for the dogs. She ran around knocking on people's doors and come to figure out she has the dog, Your Honor. And that's my
Okay,
dog.
Mr. Bradshaw, you're gonna have to work all this out at a later time. This is only a bond hearing today, okay?
Right.
Once you get out, you know, you have no further contact with her whatsoever. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good luck to you, sir.
You too. Next, Your Honor, is going to be position number 3, Mr. Rodrick Brown.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brown. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004256F with battery and simple battery in a public transit vehicle or station. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest for this defendant was June the 25th, 2024 out of DeKalb for disorderly conduct. They have 46 arrest cycles out of Georgia. Felony conviction in 2017 for terroristic threats and acts, 2009 robbery, misdemeanor conviction in 2024 for criminal trespass, 2006 battery. Let's see. The charges are restricted, but the SB 63 does allow for a UJR release through pretrial release program, the DA's pretrial intervention or diversion program, or the 10% program via USC R27. Nothing further to report.
One of the allegations in this case is I believe that Mr. Brown pepper sprayed, if I'm not mistaken, the defendant. That is true. The victim in this case, the victim Elizabeth Sanchez, and a separate victim Tamikia Bumpus. Miss Sanchez exhibited swelling as well as redness of the eyes, and so that is the indicia for the battery. The request from the state is a $1,500 surety bond, a no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a no contact with both victims, and a stay away from, I guess, all martyr location properties, because the state's position is that through spraying the pepper spray on the train, he put other individuals in harm's way as well. If we could sound for Ms. Sanchez and Ms. Bumpus, that'd be greatly appreciated. And I'd just like to point out, because of the battery, this is restricted by SB 63 for a signature bond. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
Mr. Pierre Thomas, who is the second alleged victim, the last name?
Tamikia, Tamika Bumpus, Bumpass.
If Ms. Bumpus or Ms. Sanchez, either on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Brown is 49 years of age, Georgia resident. Mr. Brown did strongly deny these allegations. He said he does not have any personal relationship with either complaining witnesses, Ms. Sanchez or Ms. Bumpus, and in fact, he stated that Ms. Sanchez and Ms. Bumpus attempted to take his money in an attempt to purchase drugs. But again, they are not they're not friends, any family members, and again, they're strangers. In which he said that he had to defend himself, in which he deployed the pepper spray. Mr. Brown is currently in the PAD program. He's been there, I believe he said, for quite a few months. I did get in touch with his case manager, Mr. Eugene. Mr. Eugene did confirm that Mr. Brown is in the PAD program, and if the court allows Mr. Brown to be released on his own recognizance, that he would be able to return to the program. However, they are unable to financially assist him in making bonds. Mr. Brown does not have any additional financial assistance. He is currently unemployed, but he was set to start working at Buffalo Wild Wings as a line cook. And he was supposed to start tomorrow at 8 a.m. Outside of that, Your Honor, Mr. Brown does not have any income. He expresses he doesn't have any mental or physical defects. So, Your Honor, we're asking for the court to set a bond that's reasonable if he is not if he's not eligible for a signature bond.
All right, for the battery, it'll be a $250 good bond. For the simple battery, a $250 good bond makes for a total of a $500 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Sanchez or Ms. Bumpus. Abide by any MARTA restrictions, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Brown.
Next is going to be position number 4, Mr. Tarz Daniel.
Good afternoon, Mr. Daniel. You've been charged in case 24 CR 00425AD with willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest for this defendant was March the 31st, 2024 out of DeKalb for possession of Schedule II controlled substance, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony and by a convicted felon. There's a total of 47 arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia and Florida. Felony conviction in 2021 for theft by taking, 2017 theft by receiving, also in 2017 theft by shoplifting. And the charge is restricted. However, SB 63 does allow UGR release through a pretrial release program, the DA's pretrial intervention or diversion program, or the 10% program via USCR 27. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, I see that Officer Dunbar is on. If we'd like to give him an opportunity to speak, if it's his desire to do so, and then the state can give its recommendation.
Good afternoon, Officer Dunbar. I take it that you have something to do with this case, even though I haven't heard anything about it as of yet. If you would like to speak, you'll have to raise your right hand for me, and I'll have to swear you.
I'm fine. I'll leave all right. I appreciate that.
Okay, well, we appreciate you being here, Deputy Dunbar.
The facts of this case is it was originally charged as a disorderly conduct. He caused quite a ruckus in the Waffle House, and at some point during an attempt to apprehend, he grabbed for the officer's taser and resisted arrest, and so that's the indicia for why the charge was changed to willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. That is a SB 63 charge. And so the state will be deferring to the court as to the appropriate bond in the matter. However, the state would request no alcohol, drugs, or weapons and to stay away from that location of that Waffle House, which is listed as 135 Andrew Young International Boulevard in Fulton County. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before I begin, I see a note in the chat that Mr. Daniel potentially has 2 additional charges. If he does, I would like for those to be addressed today so that if he is given a bond or a signature bond, he's not still being held in custody on charges that have not been accused.
They have not made it to the list. I will double check his jailing, but they have not made it to the list. Otherwise, I would have accused them at the same time. But if you give me 2 minutes to check his jailing, I can see where we're at with everything.
Okay. Your Honor, I could proceed. Mr. Daniel is 45 years of age, Georgia resident, highest education obtained was the 10th grade. He is currently unemployed and does not have any financial assistance. Residentially challenged, but he does have a mailing address in which he does receive mail, and that's 3072 Washington Road. Mr. Daniel also expressed that he doesn't have any financial assistance as well, and he is seeking a signature bond because he does not have any money to his name. If the court is not inclined, I would be asking for a bond amount no more than $200.
And I have had an opportunity to investigate. It appears that he was charged with 2 counts of willful obstruction, which I suspect one is the one we changed from the disorderly conduct, and then also originally charged with disorderly conduct. So I think that the disorderly conduct would merge into the willful obstruction, but there is a separate willful obstruction to which he already has a $5,000 surety bond on. I will look into it before the completion of the calendar, and if need be, we can NOD it as duplicitous.
Okay, so he has Mr. Pierre Thomas, he has a $5,000 what bond and what charge?
So on a willful obstruction that did not come in originally, he has a $5,000. On a disorderly conduct, which came in originally, but I changed the charge to willful obstruction, he has a $1,500. So currently he has a total of $6,500, and he has nothing set on the new willful obstruction. I suspect that the disorderly conduct merged into the new willful obstruction. So we don't need to address that, but what absolutely needs to be addressed is the other charge, which is the willful obstruction, which we didn't see originally.
Okay, now are those 2 other charges in state court?
They are all in state court. They're all misdemeanors, Your Honor.
Okay, so can we all, and
Does the officer want to speak? I saw he raised his hand.
Yeah, I can just provide a little bit of clarity into regards of what's going on. So what originally happened was that I work in Clayton County, and I didn't have access over the weekend to the e-warrant EWI system to create the warrants for the charges. So it's the exact same charges. I just did the warrants this morning and turned them into the jail so that way they could be added on for court.
Your Honor, I think the best
So
and most
there's
efficient. Oh, go ahead. I think the best and most efficient way to handle this, because as I handled the case and I read the case, and I chose to change the charge because of potential MH. And so if you could just set a bond on the new charge, I will NOD the remaining 2 charges as duplicitous.
okay.
Yeah. And we'll have that handled before the close of court today. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with the arresting officer. Stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Daniel. And thank you for being here, Deputy Dunbar.
No problem. You all know.
Who do we have next?
Next is going to be position number 5, Mr. Damini.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Damini. You've been charged in case 24CR004265C with battery, family violence, and simple battery, family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Your Honor, what position are we on?
Position number 5.
See, that defendant does not have any history, and the charges are restricted. Nothing further to report.
Judge, this incident took place on June 30th, 2024. Officers responded to a domestic dispute call at 11124 Densford Way in Johns Creek. Upon arrival, they made contact with the victim, Nusrat Damini. She said her husband struck her and clawed her chest, and the victim had scratches on her chest. There's another victim. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the first name. I think it's Rui Damini. That's the defendant's daughter. She stated that her father struck her with a vase and punched her in the back. And the second victim, Judge, had no injuries. Our office has been in touch with both victims. They both stated that they would like the defendant to return, and they would like a no further violent contact. Our office is requesting, in light of SB 63, a $4,000 good bond, $2,500 on the battery, $1,500 on the simple battery, no further violent contact with either victim, taking complete 1 day of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And if we could sound for Miss Nusrat Damini and Miss Rui Damini.
If either of the Ms. Dotterinas are on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. And you requested no further violent contact, Ms. Desiano?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Hello, Honor. This is Nusrat Damini.
Yes, ma'am. If you'd like to address the court, I need for you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. What would you like to tell the court, ma'am?
Yeah, we have been in arguments for a couple of times, but there was nothing like this extent happened. So this is the first time happened. So that he hit us. So yeah, that's all I want to say.
Okay, you like him back in the household?
Yes.
Okay. Has this ever happened before?
We were in the arguments, and whatever happened this time was all truth was said. But we went like into a lot of arguments, but he never. I mean, it was not like a hitting. This time he had hit us.
Okay. Are you afraid of him?
No.
All right. Thank you for being here, ma'am.
My daughter is also here, so she would like to speak to him. So.
Okay.
Yes. Hello, this is Ruhi Dinamani. I'm the daughter.
Okay, hold on,
I would
hold on,
like.
hold on, Wahida. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Oh, yes. Okay.
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, what would you like to tell me?
I would like to mention to the court that in our household we have an elderly woman, and I have a little sister, and she is 13 years of age. And while she was fortunately not present during the incident, I would like to say that I called 911 on the premise that I was in fear of my mother's life, and I would just like to say that while we've opted for the no contact with violence, we've decided to go through with
Without
that.
violence.
Yeah, no contact without violence. I still, to answer the question that you asked my mother, I would say that I'm scared of him.
Okay, well, I appreciate you being honest with me there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything further?
Nothing else. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Who's representing?
I do, Your Honor. P.D. Kim.
Yes, Ms. Kim.
Yes. Well, my client was born in India. He came to U.S. about 20 years ago, and he has been a U.S. citizen, Your Honor. He is working for Bank of America as an IT technical engineer. He has a bachelor's degree, computer science major. This is his first time, and we would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial level 1 and no further violent contact. Thank you.
Okay, so you're requesting something I'm not able to do, Ms. Kim? Ms. Kim?
Yes?
Did you hear my question to you?
No, I didn't hear your question, Your Honor.
Okay, you're requesting me to do something that I'm not able to do.
Oh, you mean the signature, the no further violent contact because of the daughter?
No, the signature bond through pretrial.
Oh, then signature
It's
bond
3
through
o'clock.
jail or maximum $100 cash bond, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm not comfortable letting him be around us. His daughter, who lives in the household, who tells me that she's in fear. I don't think that that would be wise of me to do. It'll be a $500 good bond on each charge, makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. No further contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from the incident location. He can go back to that location on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Sir, I can speak. Can I speak?
I've given you the opportunity to speak, ma'am. I understand.
Sir,
I understand how you feel, but given how your daughter has told me that she feels, and I feel as though she has been forthright and come forward as far as her safety goes. I'm not willing to change my my bond in regards to contact at the present time. Okay. Good luck to all of y'all. Who do we have next?
We're going to position number 6, Mr. Dupon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dupon. You've been charged in case 24CR004267G with criminal trespass and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest for this defendant was April the 29th, 2024 out of New York for assault with intent to cause injury, strangulation. They have a total of 6 arrest cycles with arrests out of Rhode Island, New York, and Connecticut. The recommendation from pretrial, the recommendation is a UJR level 2. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, this incident took place on June 29th, 2024. Officers were at 232 Forsyth Street handling a call when they were flagged down by a security guard at the Greyhound bus station. The security guard stated that there was a male on the property who's previously been criminally trespassed. They approached him, asked for his ID multiple times. He didn't respond. He attempted to walk away. And when they placed him in handcuffs, he resisted arrest. Judge, it's my understanding that a willful obstruction charge is one of the ones that requires a surety bond through SB 63. So the state is requesting a $1,000 good bond, $500 on each, a stay away from the Greyhound bus station, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I haven't been able to have a thorough conversation with Mr. Dupon. From what I've gathered, I do detect some MH issues. He was able to confirm his age, he's 29, and that he's from New York. But the only other, what he expressed to me was that he got on a Greyhound bus, that he came from New York, and he just ended up here in Atlanta. I wasn't able to get any additional information from Mr. Dupon. He actually walked away from the phone. So I don't know if he declined services or if there's something else going on in the background, but I haven't been able to continue our conversation.
Ms. Thomas, I'm going to give him a bond today. If you want to see if you can speak with him before tomorrow's calendar and have him brought back in front of me, if you have additional information that you'd like for me to consider, I'm happy to do that. Is that something that you'd entertain?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so for each of the charges today, it'll be a $250 good bond, makes for a total of a $500 good bond. Stay away from the Greyhound bus station, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. If we can place, if you choose to have him placed on the calendar tomorrow, Ms. Thomas, if you'll let Ms. Bridgewater or someone know, we'll place him on the calendar. If not, he has a bond, and I'll see him back at the SAP calendar on July 16th.
Yes, Sharon, I'm going to try to see if one of our social workers can get down there as well to speak with him, but I will let Ms. Bridgewater know.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, Mr. Dupon. Who do we have next?
You're gonna go to position number 7, Mr. Dwayne Gay, position number 7.
And Judge, that case is a dual arrest case with
I believe the cross defendant's name is Sincere Shannon.
Thank you. Yes, I have so many cases today.
Position number 28.
Yes.
Okay. And is Sincere Shannon a female?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess we'll have to take her up at a later time.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gay. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004244E with battery family violence. Is there a history?
Excuse me, the last arrest for this defendant was March the 23rd, 2022 out of Clayton County for criminal trespass and battery. They have a total of 4 arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia and Kentucky. The current charge is restricted. However, SB 63 does allow a UJR release through pretrial release program, the DA's pretrial intervention or diversion program, or the 10% program via USCR 27. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, one moment. Your Honor, the allegation in this case is that on June 28th, Mr. Gay grabbed the cross defendant by the face, restricting her mobility, causing scratches to the bottom of her lip and her chest. They share a minor child together and reside at the same address. Your Honor, the recommendation is in light of SB 63, the state will defer to the court. But however, we'll be asking for the special conditions of no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a stay away from the incident location, no contact with the victim, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. And that incident location is listed as 1940 Fisher Road, apartment 31B in Atlanta, Georgia. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
Okay, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Gay strongly denies the allegations. In fact, Mr. Gay is the one who called 911. He claims that he was attacked. Mr. Gay expressed that that Miss Shannon actually bit a big chunk out of his face. And I believe the court may be able to see Mr. Gay, in which he is patched up around the face. He claims that he only defended himself by trying to get her off of him, but he does deny striking her. He claims that when officers came to the location, they did not do an investigation, and they chose to arrest both of them to allow the courts to sort it out. But he claims that he called 911, he was attacked, and he defended himself, and he no longer wants any contact with Miss Shannon, so he does not have an issue with that. I don't believe they reside together. No, excuse me. They did share an apartment. But he will find him another place to reside. They do share also a child. The most important thing for Mr. Gay is trying to get back in touch with the child. He says the officers drove the child to Miss Shannon's mother's home, but he does provide for that child. He wishes to return back to the child. He is fine with third-party neutral contact, and we would be asking for a law enforcement escort for him to retrieve any personal belongings. Mr. Gay is 29 years of age. He is gainfully employed. He works at Amazon. He's been working there for about a year. He did express that he is unsure whether or not he still has his job because he has been held in custody for the past 3 days. Today is rent day as well. He believes his finances will be restricted, as in he is a primary caretaker for the child, and that job is his sole income. So we would be asking for a signature bond, Your Honor, or UJR, if the court permits, or if it's allowed, or in the alternative, if he's not eligible for a signature bond, we would be asking for a bond no more than $500.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with sincere Shannon. Stay away from the Fisher Road address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. Third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Gay.
Thank you.
Next, we go on to position 9, Mr. Sterling Green, position number 9.
Good afternoon, Mr. Green. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004263B with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest for this defendant was March the 12th, 2024 out of Fulton County for criminal trespass, and that was bound over to state court. There's also another open criminal trespass case. The first case number is 24 MAGC 01146. And the other one is 24 MAGC 06841. There's a felony conviction in 2019 for theft by shoplifting. 2017 possession and use of drug-related objects. Misdemeanor conviction in 2024 for criminal trespass. 2014, 2009 theft by shoplifting, and that they are restricted. That charge is restricted. SB 63 does allow UJR release through pretrial release program, the DA's pretrial intervention or diversion program, or the 10% program. Nothing further to report.
One of the allegations is that the defendant entered and remained in a restricted emergency exit fire stairway location at a Martyr Peachtree Center Street location, 216 Peachtree Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia. Your Honor, in light of the 57 cycles and the fact that he does have the underlying conviction for criminal trespass, which triggers SB 63, the state will be requesting a $1,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a stay away from the Peachtree Center Martyr Station. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
And that other criminal trespass is in Fulton County, Mr. P.O. Thomas? Does he have an open case in Fulton County State Court is my question.
I do believe so. Let me double check just to confirm.
Okay. And while you do that, Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Green is 42 years of age. He is a long-term Georgia resident. Mr. Green did express that he is residentially challenged, and he has been residentially challenged since the early 2000s. He has also been unemployed for as just long. He's been on his own. He doesn't have any family here in which he can depend on, as he expressed to me, and his other family members reside in New Jersey. Mr. Green obtained a 10th grade level education. Outside of that, Your Honor, again, Mr. Green is residentially and financially inept, and he won't be able to make any bond amount. He does express that he does understand he won't be able to go back to that Peachtree Martyr location. We would be asking the court to set a bond amount no more than $250 if Mr. Green is ineligible for a UJR or signature bond on this case.
Your Honor, I'm not sure if the one she was referring to as open was in Fulton County, but I know the one I was referring to as an underlying conviction was in Fulton County, and that was as recent as February 20th, 2024.
So he doesn't have any other open cases in Fulton County aside from this case?
One moment. He has a traffic offense charge and fixing something that is open that I can see. One moment. He has a theft by receiving stolen property, which is 21 SC 179707, which is in Fulton County. That is still open. He has an open failure to appear. And that's what I can see so far.
Okay.
So yes, it's a felony case.
And let's see.
Okay. It'll be a $250 good bond. I'd like for you to have a social worker visit Ms. Thomas to assist with housing, stay away from the incident location, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Once you have a social worker visit on that July 16th, if he's still in custody, I'll either readdress it at that point or see if we can get him some housing, okay?
Yes, Your Honor, will do. Thank you.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Green.
Your Honor, what was that bond amount? I apologize.
No, you're fine. $250 good bond.
Thank you. Next, we're going to go to position number 10, Mr. Frederick Hart.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hart. You've been charged in case 24CR004250G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest for this defendant was August 18th, 2022, out of Fulton County for theft by shoplifting that did result in a conviction, a misdemeanor conviction. There is felony conviction in 2012 for driving without a license and theft by conversion. 2011 entering auto, 2005 burglary. See, and the charge is restricted. However, SB 63 does allow a UJR release through a pretrial release program, the DA's pretrial intervention or diversion program, or the 10% program. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that officers were called to a dispute on June 28, 2024 to the location of 95 Renaissance Parkway, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia. The officers spoke with the victim in this case. I think the incident arose out of a dispute over music being played too loud. At one point, the victim put his hands around the neck of the the defendant put his hands around the neck of the defendant, causing both of them to fall to the floor, at which point the victim's head hit a rack, causing a laceration to the top of his head. The victim in this case is Patrick, Patrick Scholondrop, Schlondrop. Unfortunately, our office was not able to get in contact with him. So if we could sound for him in accordance with Marcy's law at the conclusion of the state's request, that'd be greatly appreciated. Your Honor, this is another SB 63 case, Your Honor, and I'd like to also point the court out to the idea that this individual has 48 arrest cycles. So the request from the state is a $2,500 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim in this case, a stay away from that Renaissance Parkway location, and the completion of an anger awareness course. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Hart expressed to me that he is currently in the drug rehab program at St. Jude. I believe it's at this incident location. He's still in that program, Your Honor. He's been in there for several months. As he expressed to me that this particular roommate came into the room in which they shared and was throwing stuff around. Given that this is a drug program, Mr. Hart expressed that he believed that maybe the roommate had relapsed because he came in slinging stuff around and actually hit him in the head with the radio. And that is how Mr. Hart expressed that he came to defending himself. However, he does deny any allegations of choking or putting his arm around his neck. Mr. Hart also expressed that he has continuously informed the RAs at the St. Jude location about this roommate. And unfortunately, it just came to, I guess, a head today, Your Honor. Mr. Hart is asking for a signature bond or UJR so that it will allow him to go back to the program. Actually, today was his job search phase. It was intended to start today. And Mr. Hart is also set to graduate July 31st out of the program. As we heard from pretrial, I believe Mr. Hart's last arrest or case resolved in August 2022, and any other priors were at least over a decade old, Your Honor. Mr. Hart is 51 years of age. Outside of this program, he is unemployed and is residentially challenged. The program does provide him resources for work and housing, but it is solely up to Mr. Hart to obtain and secure those resources. He has no issue with the no contact order, as Mr. Scholondrop, excuse me if I butchered that name, is no longer a part of the program. So they have no issues, will have no issues running into each other or having any further contact, Your Honor. But we are asking for either UJR or for a bond amount no more than $250.
Okay, there'll be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Mr. Scholondrop, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Hart.
Thank you.
Your Honor, can you read ACDC their rights? And we're going to proceed to position number 8, Ms. Aana Godfrey, afterwards.
Okay, and let's see. Can you unmute there for me at ACDC?
Milton?
Are you with me, Officer Milton?
4 people, somebody. 4 people that down.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Yes, good afternoon, Officer Milton. Good afternoon, ladies. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. If you have any objection to having your case heard this afternoon by video, please let me know when you come before me. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We are providing you with the services of a public defender today if you choose to utilize their services. Okay, who do we have?
It's going to be position number 8, Your Honor, Ms. Aana Godfrey.
No, Ms. Godfrey, have a seat.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Godfrey. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004245G with reckless conduct. Is there a history?
The last arrest for this defendant was May 24th, 2024 out of Fulton County. for reckless conduct and cruelty to children. That case is open under 24 PI 003675. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2. Nothing further to report.
The last arrest is a felony case, similar indicia or similar facts of this case. She was arrested for reckless conduct, and in that case, cruelty to children in the 2nd degree. The facts of that case is that the child was allegedly outside in a diaper, eating litter off the ground, and I guess someone notified the police. Similar facts in this case, someone notified the police once they saw the child outside naked. At about, I want to say, at 12:51 a.m. in the morning, the officers were able to get in contact with the defendant. The defendant stated that she left the house at around 11 o'clock at night, and she left the 3-year-old and the 12-year-old there because she wanted to go to her best friend's birthday party. Your Honor, this is eligible for a pretrial release, and so, but given the facts, we'd leave it to the discretion of the court. We just ask for the conditions of no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and for her to abide by any and all active directives given to her by Department of Child and Family Services. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, this is definitely a very sensitive case. Ms. Godfrey does deny much of the allegations. She did express to me that her children were in the care of a trusted friend, and unbeknownst to her and the friend, that the child did manage to open the door. Ms. Godfrey did also express that she does have a case manager and a house aide mother who works also as a case manager for her. She has a case plan as well. A part of that case plan, she is actively looking for better housing. This new housing will come with better security for the locks and doors, in which she will reside with her children. I want to specifically point out that the children are still in Miss Godfrey's care. Presently, they are with her mother, Miss Zandra Diorson. I believe Miss Diorson is also present on Zoom, or at least was. Ms. Godfrey is the mother of 2 children, a 3-year-old and 12-year-old. She currently works at Six Flags. She works 5 days a week from 10:30 to 4. She gets paid daily. She expressed she gets paid $80 per day. Her children currently attend the Shining Hill Learning Center, and they've been attending that learning center since April and of May. The 12-year-old started attending that learning center in May. That 12-year-old also attends Centennial Academy on Lucky Street, Your Honor. Ms. Godfrey is 31 years of age. She's a high school graduate. She also went into the Atlanta Job Corps. Ms. Godfrey further expresses that though she is employed, she did lose a previous job working at the airport. So finances are limited at this current time, as she is the only one that provides for child services. Her mother assists when she can, and her mother would be willing to assist with making bond, but she stated that they would be unable to pay any bond amount over $1,000, Your Honor. We would be asking the court to set a reasonable bond amount if Ms. Godfrey is ineligible for that signature bond level 2 or the UJR, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Abide by any defects orders, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you, Ms. Godfrey.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 11, Mr. David Howard.
Good afternoon, Mr. Howard. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004243Y with battery. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest for this defendant was January 26, 2024, out of DeKalb for theft by receiving and obstruction of law enforcement officer. There's a total of 4 arrest cycles out of Georgia, misdemeanor conviction in 2023 for battery disorderly conduct. This charge is restricted. However, SB 63 does allow a UJR release through the pretrial release program, the DA's pretrial intervention or diversion program, or the 10% program. Nothing further to report.
You're on mute, Mr. Pierre Thomas.
Thank you. The brief facts of the case is that the allegation arises out of an incident date of June 2nd, 2024. The allegation is that he physically struck the victim in this case. The victim is Kiwan Low, repeatedly with a closed fist in the face to the upper torso and body. This caused him permanent or prominent red marks to the upper left side of his back. Officers notated that it measured approximately 3 inches in height and 2 in width. One moment. This took place this appeared to be a workplace dispute. Your Honor, our office was able to get in contact with the victim. The victim is the manager at Burger King. The victim confirmed the events in the warrant. The victim stated that they both had been fired as the result of the incident. The victim stated that he wants no contact with the defendant, and I do believe that the victim will be on Zoom, Your Honor. In light of the arrest cycles and in light of the recent violent history that he has, the recommendation is the $1,500 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a stay away from that Burger King location, which is located at 5025 Abbott's Bridge Road in Johns Creek, to have no contact with the victim, and to complete an anger awareness course. And if we could sound for Mr. Lowe, that'd be greatly appreciated, but there's nothing further to add from the state at this time.
If Kawan Lowe is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
How you doing, Your Honor?
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Do.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you, Mr. Lowe. What would you like to tell the court?
I lost my job, so I have to figure out another way to get ends meet. I do not forgive him. I still want to know why, but other than that, I do wish you the best of luck in your life, and I do wish you the best of luck in the future. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr. Lowe. Who's representing Mr. Howard?
PD Kim is representing, Your Honor. Mr. Howard, Your Honor, he was also fired, and he denies the allegation. Right now, he is gainfully employed at Taco Mac as a cook, and he does have, he graduated from high school, he played football, and he was, I guess, voted as most likely to be the best leader. He has a great leadership. This incident is a very relatively remote. We would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial as he was recommended. So, I believe he is also, he's been here in Georgia for more than 10 years. He's not going anywhere. He has his family here. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Mr. Lowe. Stay away from the Burger King on Average Bridge Road, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Howard.
Next, we're going to go to position number 12, Mr. Devon Johnson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson. You've been charged in case 24CR004248Y with battery. Is there a history?
This defendant has 2 arrest cycles out of Georgia. Their last arrest was July 4th, 2022 out of Riverdale for an FTA. There also appears to be an open case out of Clayton County for simple battery family violence. The charge is restricted. However, SB 63 does allow UJR release through a pretrial release program, the DA's pretrial intervention or diversion program, or the 10% program. Nothing further to report.
One moment, Your Honor. Your Honor, the incident date arises out of June 30th, 2024. The officers responded to 2050 Old National Parkway. It looks like room 229, which is the business of Red Roof Hotel. I do believe that the victim in this case, Mr. Sylvester, Sylvester Bowens, I believe they said he met the defendant off an app They engaged in, I guess, relations, and at which point, after the relations, the victim asked the defendant to pay him for the exchange. He refused, and at some point, it said that the defendant struck the victim in the face with a closed fist, causing the victim to suffer a bloody nose. Our office was not able to get in contact with the victim in this case. The request from the state is a $1,500 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, and the completion of an anger awareness course. And if we could sound from Mr. Bowens in accordance with Marcy's value, we greatly appreciate it. Nothing further to add at this time.
Mr. Sylvester Bowens is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just given the allegations in the warrant, Your Honor, we'll decline to make a statement regarding those, but Mr. Johnson does strongly deny those allegations in that warrant. He declines having a personal relationship with Mr. Sylvester Bowens as well. No contact will not be an issue. Mr. Johnson expressed that he is from New Jersey, that he was here on a trip, a 5-day trip, and that he had 2 days left. He stated that he previously had tried to make bond. He and his mother had tried to make bond on his behalf, but was having difficulties. Mr. Johnson is currently employed. He currently works at the Walmart in New Jersey. He expressed that he's been working there for the past 5 years. He does not have any additional family or friends in Georgia. He also completed high school, Your Honor. He's 32 years of age. Again, he's just been trying to make bonds. We would also ask for a signature bond, given that Mr. Johnson has been having difficulties for whatever reason. He was told by, I guess, East Point Jail when he was first arrested that he couldn't post the bond on his own. I'm not sure what the reason why, but he's been trying to make bail and has been unable to do so. He is asking the court today to grant him a signature bond or UJR so that he could be released and that he can return back home.
What is the bond that he couldn't make, Ms. Thomas? What was the current bond?
The bond in which he was arrested on showed up as $2,500, and they were trying to go through a bonding company. The bonding company told his mom she couldn't assist, go with the bond because she was out of state. But East Point, by Mr. Johnson's statement, told me that he could not post a bond on his behalf. And then, he was transported over here. I'm not sure, I haven't contacted East Point, haven't heard anything else, but he stated that he had been trying to post bond on his own and was unable to. So given that they have been having difficulties and the fear that he wouldn't be able to go through a bonding company, he was asking for the court to grant him a signature bond so that he could be released.
Okay. It'll be a $500 good bond, no further contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from the Old National Parkway address, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
It's going to be position number 13, Mr. Emanuel Jones.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jones. You've been charged in case 24CR004220C with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest for this defendant was March the 27th, 2024 out of Fulton County for criminal trespass. The case is still open. The number is 24CR001517C. There's a total of 65 arrest cycles with arrests out of California and Georgia. There appears to be a hold out of Modesto, California for a weapons offense. The date of that warrant is March the 17th, 2023. There's a misdemeanor conviction out of California in 2022 for a concealed weapon. 2019 trespassing. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 3. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, this incident occurred on June 26, 2024. Officers responded to the CVS pharmacy located at 2907 Main Street in East Point in reference to a criminal trespass. Mr. Jones was previously trespassed from this CVS on March 27th of 2024. And his open case, Your Honor, is also at a CVS. I'm trying to confirm the address. Let's see. Judge Williams gave him a stay away from this particular CVS in his 24 CR 001517C case that is currently open. In light of that, the state's going to request a $500 good bond, another stay away from that CVS, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol allowed on bond.
Was it a different CVS, Ms. Desiano?
No, it was the same CVS, Judge.
And what was the bond in that case?
It was a 6,000 SOB jail.
Okay. Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. I was able to speak to Mr. Jones, and I believe Mr. Jones said that he does receive and take medication for some image matters that he has. I did ask whether or not this particular CVS is where he was, picking up the medications at the time. But going forward, Your Honor, Mr. Jones did express that he understands he will not be able to go back to this CVS. He will be picking up his medication from a nearby Walgreens. Mr. Jones is 30 years of age, a long-term Georgia resident. He doesn't have any family or friends to offer any financial assistance, Your Honor. Financially, he is unable to pay any bond amount. He is asking the court to grant the UJR. He did express that he only has maybe $1 or $2 to his name. If I haven't mentioned it before, he's residentially challenged, Your Honor. He's not able to receive any of his medications while in custody. So again, he's asking to be released. Now, I will say Mr. Jones did express that he does have an aunt that he frequently stays with, but he does not use her address as his own address or couldn't recall her address by heart. So again, Your Honor, we would be asking for the UJR, and if the court is not inclined, a bond amount no more than $200.
Okay, I'd like for him to have a social worker visit Ms. Thomas to assist with housing. At this time, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Stay away from that CVS on Main Street in East Point, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Jones, if you go back to that CVS and you come back before me, I'm not going to give you a signature bond next time, okay?
I definitely understand, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you.
Someone.
Your Honor, I just brought out my last group of defendants. They need their rights read, and that should be it.
Okay, good afternoon, gentlemen. Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. If you have a problem with having your case heard by video, please let me know when you come before me. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We have given you the opportunity to be represented by a public defender today if you choose to do so. Who do we have next?
It's going to be position number 14, Mr. Devon Knight.
Good afternoon, Mr. Knight. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004247J with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history?
The last arrest for this defendant was November 24th, 2020 out of Henry County for a probation violation. We have a total of 11 arrest cycles in Georgia. Felony conviction in 2011 for aggravated assault. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 3. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, the allegations from here arise out of an incident date on 3/15/2004. It's alleged that he went to a Target located at 375 18th Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, and essentially went on a shoplifting spree, taking two packs of beer, 6 steaks, 2 packs of ground beef, and 1 pack of chicken breast. He was ultimately caught and led to an office by a loss prevention officer. He then asked to use the restroom, and when they opened the door, he bolted from the location. Your Honor, the request from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a stay away from that Target location. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
Who's representing Mr. Knight?
I am, Your Honor. Your Honor, he is 44 years old, has lived in Georgia for 18 years. He is the father of 2 children, including 1 minor child. He denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. I have no objection to the signature bond through pretrial services. I would ask that be at level 1. He was at the time residentially challenged, but he has been able to find stable housing and work. So I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial at level 1.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Stay away from the target, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Knight.
Next is going to be position number 16, Mr. Quincy Lewis.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lewis. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004238H with battery, family violence, and criminal trespass. Is there a history?
This defendant has a total of 3 arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia and Florida. Their last arrest was June the 19th, 2023 out of Orange County, Florida for battery. And the charges are restricted. The defendant SB 63 does not allow UJR release through a pretrial release program, the DA's pretrial intervention or diversion program, the 10% program. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, these allegations sprung out of an incident date of June 30th, 2024, where the officers responded to the location of 55 Oakley Industrial Boulevard in South Fulton, in Fulton County, Georgia, for a domestic dispute call. They spoke with the victim in this case. The victim is Mari, M-A-U-R-I, Hughes, H-U-G-H-E-S. She advised that her baby's father and ex-boyfriend, the defendant, came to the residence to spend time with their son as it was his birthday. She advised that he was already upset due to them having issues in the past and him always being mad. She stated that Mr. Lewis, the defendant, was there with their son and her daughter, and that they do not share together. She stated that they were at the pool, which possibly triggered him because she wasn't talking to him and ignoring him. She advised that he began to jump. When he got back to the home, he began to jump on her and begin to destroy property inside of the home. The property included clothing, walls in the home, mirrors in the home, and an iPad that was owned and purchased for her. She stated that he's been arrested in the past and they've had issues in the past with him putting his hands on her. She advises that that's the reason that they don't speak. Our office, fortunately enough, was able to get in contact with her. She advised that they are not in a relationship. They do not live together. They share the 1 child together. She stated that the incident location is, in fact, her residence. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated that the 2 children were present, actually, and witnessed the entire altercation. The victim stated that this is not the first time, again, that he's been violent towards her. She stated that he was arrested in Orange County, Florida. So that Orange County battery arrest out of 2023, or as recent as 2023, is a situation where she's also the victim in that. She states that she wants no contact with the defendant. She wants him to stay away from her residence. And I do believe that she will be on the call. So if we could sound for Ms. Hughes in accordance with Marcy's thought, that'd be greatly appreciated. Your Honor, in light of his recent arrest history for violence against the exact same victim, Your Honor, we would request a $5,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
If Ms. Mari Hughes is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Ty?
Hey, how you doing?
Okay. Yes, Ms. Hughes, if you'll raise your right hand for me. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what would you like to tell the court?
No, I'm just requesting parenting classes and like anger management because our son is autistic and I don't even feel comfortable with him being around him since like both of the kids was present, and that didn't stop him. Like I had to literally run out the house naked to my neighbor's house for him to actually leave out the house so I can run back in my house and lock the doors and wait for the police to come.
All right. Thank you for being this afternoon, Ms. Hughes.
No problem.
Mr. Ty?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 26 years old. He is a Georgia resident. He does work 7 days a week as a trucker. He did graduate from Redan High School here in Georgia. He is the father of one minor child, but states that he also has been a father figure to the complaining witness's child, who is not his biological child. He tells me that arrest in Florida, the charges were dismissed. I of course don't have access to confirm that, but he does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. He is fine with no further contact and to stay away from the complaining witness's home. He is recommended for a signature bond through pretrial services, although I realize that may be restricted. I would ask for the lowest bond possible to be set in this case with the stay away and no further contact, and I would object to the FVIP. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant, and I would ask for a third party transfer of the minor child.
Okay, for the battery, it'd be a $1,500 good bond. For the criminal trespass, a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Maury Hughes. Stay away from the Oakley Boulevard address. Third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Lewis.
I need a police escort to get my belongings from over there.
Okay, and you can have a one-time police escort to retrieve any belongings that you have from the location, so.
All right, position 17. Position 17, Judge.
Oh, is he up there?
Oh, it's a female, ACDC.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Malone. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004239F for simple battery, family violence, and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest for this defendant was May the 22nd, 2022 out of Carroll County for a DUI. They have a total of 2 arrest cycles in Georgia. The charges are restricted. However, SB 63 does allow a UJR release through pretrial release program, the DA's pretrial intervention or diversion program, or the 10% program. Nothing further to report.
Yeah, this is a cross-defendant case. The victim in this case is listed as Brandon Staggs. The facts of this case are essentially that the defendant is said to have struck Mr. Staggs. One moment. Struck Mr. Staggs in the face several times. They both lived together. I'm sorry. The recommendation from the state is to refer to the court in light of SB 63 for them to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, to have no contact with the victim in this case, to stay away from the incident location, which is listed as 888 Juniper Street Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, here in Fulton County, Georgia, and for him to complete a family violence intervention program. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
Mr. Ty?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is Ingred Malone. She is 34 years old. She has lived, she is a Georgia resident. She is a high school graduate. She earned her bachelor's degree and her master's degree from Cornell. She does work as a project manager. It is a dual arrest, Your Honor. This is, I see that she has no convictions at all. If anything, it's her second arrest. She is recommended for a signature, a UJR through the jail. And I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services. And I would object to the stay away from that address. And they don't live together, Your Honor. They live in two different units. She lives at 888 Juniper Street, but a different unit from the cross defendant. So I would object as long as she can go back to her home. And she did state that she'd be fine with no violent contact anyway. I don't know what the cross defendant's wishes are. And I would object to the FVIP. It's her second arrest.
Who's representing Mr. Brandon Staggs this afternoon?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay. What are his wishes as far as contact?
No further violent contact, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Cloud. As far as Ms. Malone goes, for the simple battery, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. The obstruction, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Brandon Staggs, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right. Good luck to you, Ms. Malone.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
All right, position 18, ACDC.
Good afternoon, Ms. Marshall. You've been charged in case 24CR004237F with battery family violence. Is there a history?
The last arrest for this defendant was February 15th, 2019 out of Essex County, New Jersey for simple assault, criminal mischief. I have a total of 5 arrest cycles out of New Jersey. Let's see, with the exception of the current bail restricted charge, the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 1. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, this incident arose on June 30th, 2024 at the location of 390 Stovall Street in Atlanta, Georgia, and Fulton County, Georgia. It's a dispute between a brother and sister. At some point, she struck him with her hands. The recommendation from the state is to defer to the court in light of SB 63, for them to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, for them to have no further violent contact, and for her to complete an anger awareness course. Our office was able to get in contact with the victim. He confirmed that they are siblings. He stated that the incident location is his residence. The defendant has been staying with him for the past 2 weeks. He confirmed the events in the warrant. He stated that this has never happened before. He stated that he is not in fear of the defendant, is okay with having contact. He also stated that he is okay with the defendant returning to the residence. I do believe that he is on the call. His name is Ramon, Romane, Marshall, traditional spelling or same spelling as the defendant. So if we could sign for him in accordance with Marshall's thought, that'd be great. They appreciate it, but there's nothing further to add from the state at this time.
If Mr. Marshall's on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
Yes. As you can see.
Hold on, Mr. Marshall. I'm going to have to get you to activate your camera for me.
Understood.
Okay, and if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay, you can put your hand down. Yes, Mr. Marshall, what would you like to tell the court?
Yes, this is my sister, as stated, we never had this issue before. And she's just going through a rough time at the moment. She's here, just moved to the state recently, and I'm just trying to help her to get into a better position. She got 3 kids. She just, got her degree, a bachelor's degree in management and minor in accounting a year and a half ago. We're just trying to get her into a job, get her doing something. So I just was, she's not violent all the time. Not all the time. She's not violent towards me. We just had an issue this time and we're just working on everything at the moment. So I was just saying she's okay to come back. I just want her kids to be here. The kids miss her. So that's just, I just want her to be here with her kids.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr. Marshall. Yes, Mr. Ty.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 29 years old. She is a Georgia resident. She did recently move. She's a single mom to 3 minor children, 11, 8, and 5 years old. I also spoke with the complaining witness, and as you heard, he wants no violent contact and he does not want her to stay away. He's been trying to help her. She has the 3 children and is trying to, has recently moved. She is interviewing for jobs right now. She hasn't found one yet. She cannot afford a bond at this point in time. I understand that she's recommended for a signature bond through pretrial services at level 1. I would ask that bond amount, if there has to be a bond amount set, to be set at $1. And I would object to the 1-day anger awareness. The complaining witness has stated that she's not violent, nothing further.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, no further violent contact with Mr. Ramon Marshall, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck, Ms. Marshall.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right,
we have?
courtroom 2, position 21.
Good afternoon, Mr. McLean. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004233G with battery. Is there a history?
The last arrest for this defendant was August the 2nd, 2017, out of Fulton County for battery. That case is in judicial hold. The number is 17 SC 151941. And the recommendation from pretrial, with the exception of the restricted charge, is a UJR level 2. Nothing further.
Your Honor, this incident date arose out of an incident that happened on November 27, 2023. I believe that there's a rocky relationship between the victim in this case, Mr. Miguel Flores, Miguel Flores, stage name Danny Wolf. I believe that the defendant is the ex-manager of the victim in this case, and that he is currently in the process of suing him. What happened was, allegedly the victim was invited to a party by a separate third party, a music industry party, at which point the defendant walked up behind the victim, grabbed him by the neck aggressively and began to fight with him. The victim requested that they take it into a separate part of the venue to have a conversation, at which point, while in the separate part of the venue, the defendant began to punch the victim several times in the face until the victim fell to the ground and continued to hit the victim. Others had to break it up. The victim ultimately had a busted lip, was bleeding in the back of his head, and he had shoulder pains for days. The recommendation from the state is a $2,500 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim in this case, and the completion of an anger awareness course. Unfortunately, our office was not able to get in contact with the victim, but we would like to sound for him in accordance with Marcy's law. And again, I'd just like to put on the record that the indicia for the request is that the defendant has an open Superior Court case here in Fulton County with charged as battery with a different victim but similar injuries or similar indicia, and a criminal damage to property, a 17 SC 151941. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
If Miguel Flores is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Who's representing Mr. McLean?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Curtis Hubbard on behalf of Julian McLean. I take it at the tail end of what the state just said is that Mr. McLean, in a nutshell, has no prior felony history nor any prior misdemeanor history. He's 32 years old, Judge. Even though he was born in the state of North Carolina, he has lived in the state of Georgia for over 20 years. I am familiar with Mr. McLean. Mr. McLean's younger sister went to high school with my youngest daughter, so I'm very familiar with Julian over the years. He's a 2009 graduate of Salem High School, which is out of Rockville County, Conyers, Georgia. He played football for Salem High School. He is single, Judge, no kids. He is employed in the music industry, and he has his own management business. Excuse me, as the state just indicated, I believe that the alleged victim in this case and my client have a history of some civil litigation going on involving monies owed to my client. I'm not going to make much of a comment about the case because that's not what the purpose of this hearing is for. We'll litigate the facts of the case later. I believe the $2,500 bond is a reasonable bond, Judge. If the court can give a UJR bond, we would ask for that. If not, a $2,500 straight bond, we would respectfully ask the court to impose.
Okay. It will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further contact with Miguel Flores, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay, good luck to you, Mr. McLean. Anything further this afternoon, Mr. Hubbard?
No, nothing further on behalf of Mr. McLean, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Have a good afternoon.
Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court. May I be excused?
Yes, have a good afternoon. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Who do we have next?
Next, Your Honor, is going to be position number 24, Mr. Peton.
Good afternoon, Judge. Mike Dixon for Mr. Peton.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Vixen. And good afternoon, Mr. Peton. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004266G with harassing communications and stalking. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy? You're on mute, Ms. Hardy, if you're talking.
Okay, this defendant, the last arrest was April 30th, 2020 out of Tallahassee, Florida for trespassing and loitering. They have one arrest cycle out of Florida, with the exception of the restricted charge. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 1. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, this incident took place on June 22nd, 2024. Officers originally responded to what was a burglary call at 1800 Birmingham Highway in Milton. The caller was Miss Jasmine Bloor. She states that she believed her ex-boyfriend was attempting to enter her home. The police arrived and they did not locate anyone. The victim advised that she and her ex were together for 2 years. They broke up about a month ago. Since that time, he's been sending her several messages referencing his suicide. She's asked him to stop contacting him, and he has continued to contact her. On June 21st, she observed the defendant was following her around Forsyth County. She later learned that he slashed the tires of her friend's car when she was with him. There's a separate case pending in that jurisdiction regarding that. Prior to contacting the police on the incident date, the victim observed the defendant attempting to enter her home. She showed the officer the footage, and that at the time they couldn't confirm it was the defendant. He did, however, message the victim around 2:10 a.m. that morning, saying that he passed by and there were 3 cop cars in her driveway, which the officer did note that there were 3 cop cars in their driveway. So he thought that was strange. The victim finally messaged the defendant around 2:25 that morning saying, "Do not call me, do not text me, do not contact me in any type of way, and do not come to my house." And after sending that message, the defendant proceeded to send her 3 more messages at 2:35, 2:37, and 2:40 a.m. Our office has been in touch with Miss Bloor. She states that the defendant began harassing her by showing up to her home and calling her repeatedly after they broke up. She states the defendant showed up to her home again. He was arrested. She stated that she's currently seeking a TPO in Cobb County. She's in fear for her safety. She doesn't want any contact with the defendant, and she wants the defendant to stay away from her residence. In light of the allegations, Judge, the state's requesting a $5,000 good bond. That's $2,500 on each count. A no further contact whatsoever, text message, call, drive-by, nothing with the victim. A stay away from her residence, which is 1800 Birmingham Highway in Milton. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And at this time, if we could sound for Ms. Bloor.
What's the last name, Ms. Desiano?
Beloor.
If Ms. Bloor is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Yes, Mr. Bixson.
Yes, Your Honor, this is Mr. Peton. He's 23 years old. He's lived in Marietta for the last 3 years. He has lived with his parents and his sister. He did graduate from high school and he did 1 year of college at Troy University. He's currently working full-time at the company called the Dig Team. He's been there for 3 years. He does have the priors that were mentioned before, Judge. I understand that I believe they've been expunged. Regardless, though, there's no failure to appear whatsoever. We have no issue with the stay away order as a part of this bond, Judge. We would just be asking for a UJR bond.
Okay, for the harassing communications, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the stalking, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact whatsoever with Ms. Jasmine Beler. Stay away from her residence, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Peton, you cannot contact Ms. Beler whatsoever. No phone contact, no internet contact, no social media contact, certainly no personal contact, no contact whatsoever. Otherwise, you'll be in violation of this bond order. All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Peton. Anything further this afternoon, Mr. Dixon?
That concludes my business. May I be excused, Judge?
Yes. Have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor, we're going to go to position number 23, Ms. Orlachio Garcia.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Orlachio Garcia. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004234C with theft of services. Is there a history?
This defendant does not have any history and is recommended for a UJR through the jail.
Your Honor, this incident took place June 29th, 2024. Alpharetta Police responded to 319 South Esplanade regarding a disturbance. Upon arrival, they made contact with the victim, Justin Henderson. He advised that he is an Uber driver. He was at the bar. He's supposed to be picking up a different person when the defendant got into his car and offered him $200 cash to drive her. At first, the victim declined, but then the defendant later offered him more money, $250. So the victim canceled his scheduled Uber drive and drove the defendant to the incident location. When they arrived, the defendant refused to pay either rate, the amount she promised, or even the normal rate. Our office has not been in touch with Mr. Henderson. It is my understanding that it is this defendant's first arrest. And although there are some theft charges that are ineligible for a signature bond, it's my understanding that this is not one of them. The state's recommending a signature bond through pretrial, no further contact with Justin Henderson, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if we could sound for Mr. Henderson.
If Justin Henderson is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Good afternoon, Ms. Goldstein.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ms. Orlachio Garcia is a 33-year-old mother of 3. She strongly denies these allegations and believes it was just a misunderstanding. She had left a music venue where she had requested an Uber. She got into this vehicle thinking that it was the Uber that she had requested. When she got home, the victim said, "You owe me $200, $250. Ms. Orlachio Garcia attempted to go into the house to get the money, but had been locked out of her house and was unable to do so. And the driver then ultimately ended up calling the police. Ms. Orlachio Garcia is employed as an attorney. She practices personal injury law and workers' compensation. She has no criminal history. She's never failed to appear for court. And as Your Honor can imagine, she will not do anything related to this case that would jeopardize her law license. We would be asking for a UGR through the jail, and if the court is not inclined to do so, a good bond of $1,000.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Justin Henderson, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes, that concludes my business.
Yes, have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Who do we have next?
Next is going to be position number 25, Mr. Octavius Price.
Good afternoon, Mr. Price. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004235B with battery and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Is there a history?
This defendant's last arrest was January the 17th, 2020 out of Fulton County. I'm sorry, out of South Fulton for aggravated assault and battery. There's a misdemeanor conviction. That charge, it was downgraded to disorderly conduct and they're on probation for it. That number is 23 SC 186513. And with the exception of the restricted charge, the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 3. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, this incident took place June 29th, 2024. Officers responded to 6745 Lake Erie Lane in South Fulton. Upon arrival, they made contact with the victim, Miss Adebola Aaronlee, who stated that her boyfriend got upset with her because she wanted to sleep in bed with her 6-year-old son, juvenile NH. The next morning, he was still upset about it. And while she was still in bed with her son, he grabbed her by the neck, leaving scratches on her chin and her chest area. Our office has been in touch with Miss Aaronlee. She says that she and the defendant were together for 5 years. They have no kids together and they do not live together. She stated that they do have a DV history. She is afraid of defendant. She confirmed the events in the warrant. And she also added that before the defendant dragged her out of the house, he tried to get a dog to bite her. She would like a no contact and a stay away from her residence, which is 325 Lake Point Lane in Fayetteville. Our office is recommending a $3,000 good bond, $2,500 on the battery, $500 on the cruelty, no further contact with either victim, a stay away from the victim's residence, 325 Lake Point Lane, taking complete 2 days of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And if we could sound for Miss Aaronlee.
Miss Aaronlee is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Ty.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 27 years old. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He did graduate from North Clayton High School. He's currently in the Army National Guard and also works as a driver for Hilton Hotels. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. He lives at the incident location. It's his home. He lives there with his 5-year-old child, his mother, his brother, and his aunt with 3 children. He says that they were present at the time and all witnessed that she walked out of the house on her own. So he firmly denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. I believe when the police arrived, she was still waiting outside of the house. He did want her to leave his home, but he never touched her. We have no objection to no further contact and a stay away from her residence. Of course, we need him to be able to go back to his home. And I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services as he is recommended. He is an active member of the military. He also participates in the fatherhood program where he meets for classes on Mondays and Wednesdays, and the Father Ties program, and that's through the Army National Guard. So I would ask for a pretrial services bond at level 1. And I don't believe that it's restricted that he can't have a signature bond through pretrial services, but if it is, I would ask for the lowest bond possible. Nothing further.
And
this is me, Adebola.
Yes, ma'am. If you would like to address the court, if you'll raise your right hand for me. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What would you like to tell the court?
Yes. So as far as denying, it was clear his family who was in there, he has an auntie there who came from Florida to stay in that home, which is the homes, I forgot what they're called. Either way, he had his auntie come and stay with him who came with a pit bull. They have a pit bull locked upstairs in the top room. He got mad at me because I stated that I wanted to go. He went into that room and got the pit bull and brought it out, and the pit bull was barking at me, trying to get it to bite me. His auntie came out and told him to stop because the pit bull is her dog, and if the dog bit me, it would be her responsibility. So that's the only reason why he put the pit bull back. When I went to the other side to wake up my son so that we could leave, That's the whole reason why all this happened, because I was trying to leave his home. He wouldn't let me leave. He took my phone. He took my phone. He took my son's phone. So I could not leave. I could not call 911 and I could not call an Uber. He kept throwing our phones. So we could not do that. When I went around to wake my son up so I could get him, he could put on his shoes, he took me from behind with both of his arms, grabbed me by the neck and pulled me down onto the floor and dragged me to the door. I'm pregnant. I am 26 weeks pregnant today. He knew that I was pregnant at this time, and he still decided to hurt my child. And meanwhile, my 6-year-old son was sitting up watching the entire time while he's done this. And this is not his first time being violent in front of my child. If you see the battery that you saw that got pled down, that was to the mother of his 5-year-old son. He is in that program to try to get custody of his son. He does not need custody of his son because he's violent. That's the reason why he has that previous violence charge. Is from his baby mama. He brought out a gun on his.
Your Honor, we're going to object to this line of testimony and ask that any testimony further be just limited to the allegations in which he is being presently charged.
No problem. So that I wanted to make sure that's clear, that this man is violent. It's not the first time, it's not the second time. And if need be, when it comes time for court day, I can provide you pictures of a black eye. I currently have a mark on my back and a mark on my side of where he has bit me. I have black eyes. I have a chipped tooth right here from when he punched me in the mouth. This man is violent. He does not deserve any kind of lax sentencing, because he is violent. To sit up and do this to a woman who was pregnant in front of her 6-year-old child, he deserves no lack, nothing. He deserves everything he gets.
Your Honor, he firmly denies the allegations as stated in the warrant about the dog. I mean, the dog isn't even an issue here. He does deny the allegations. She was outside of the home when the police arrived. I don't know why she was still there if she was afraid. There is no previous history. The 2020 is a disorderly conduct. He has one misdemeanor conviction. He's 27 years old. Again, he does serve in the military. He does work full time. He does not have a child with the complaining witness and wants no further contact and plans to file for a restraining order. She is not pregnant with his child. They have no reason to see each other. And I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services. He is recommended, nothing further.
Okay, so for the battery, it'll be a $500 good bond. For the cruelty, a $500 good bond, makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Ehringly. Stay away from her residence. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Price.
Thank you very much.
Next, we're going to go to position number 26, Mr. Puit.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pruitt. You've been charged in case 24CR004236D with battery family violence. Is there a history?
The last arrest for this defendant was December 17th, 2008 out of Fulton County for an FTA. They have 18 arrest cycles in Georgia, felony conviction in 91 for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, 1989 theft by taking. With the exception of the restricted charge, the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 3. Nothing further to report.
He only has one charge, right? Battery?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
This incident took place on June 4th of this year. Officers responded to 3050 West Peak Road in Atlanta regarding a dispute. The victim, Billy Clayton Jr., advised that he and his uncle lived together. They were arguing over a broken washing machine when the defendant grabbed him and threw him around the room and repeatedly punched him in the head and bit him on his back and chest. The victim went to the hospital for the injuries he sustained. Our office has unfortunately not been in touch with him. Your Honor, I'm showing that his last arrest was in 2008. However, I believe this case is ineligible for a signature bond based on SB 63. So the state's recommending a $2,500 good bond, no further contact with Mr. Clayton, a stay away from the incident location, taking complete 1 day of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And if we could sound for Mr. Clayton.
If Mr. Billy Clayton is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Ty?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 56 years old. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He has worked as a mover, moving furniture for a moving company, and he's been doing that since 1998. As you heard, his last arrest was 16 years ago, and that was for an FTA. Other than that, he has convictions that are more than 30 years old. He denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. I was able to get in touch with the complaining witness, who is his nephew. He had allowed his nephew to come live in the home. My client firmly denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. He states that his nephew is a young man who's very strong. He states that he was acting in self-defense. He was fighting for his life, Your Honor. The complaining witness stated to me that he's definitely not afraid of my client, and stated that he has not been living there since the incident, which allegedly occurred June 4th. So it's been over a month he's not living there. I would object to a stay away. This is my client's home, and he's been living there for a long time. And I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services. I don't see any recent history at all. The FTA was 16 years ago. The other convictions were 30 years ago. He works full time. He has raised 2 sons and 2 daughters. He has 4 grandchildren and also 4 step grandchildren. If Your Honor feels that you can't order a signature bond through pretrial services, in this case, I would ask for a signature for the lowest bond possible. I would ask for a $1 bond. And I would object to the 1 day anger awareness. My client is 56 years old. He doesn't do anything with, he's not technologically savvy. He states that his family calls him Fred Flintstone and says that he lives in the Stone Ages because he doesn't do anything with technology. So I don't think that he'd be able to complete a 1 day anger awareness. I think that's an online class. And also he has no recent violent history. Nothing further.
Okay, it'll be $100 good bond, no further violent contact with Billy Clayton Jr., and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Pruitt.
Next, we have position number 27, Ms. Simone Elise Finnabaldi.
That's ACDC, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Sinabaldi. You've been charged in case 24CR004240J with battery family violence. Is there a history?
This defendant does not have any history to report, with the exception of the restricted charge. They're recommended for a UJR through the jail. Nothing further.
Judge, this incident took place June 30th, 2024. Officers responded to a domestic call at 8 Clifton Street, apartment 1 in Atlanta. The victim, Jerome Collins, stated that his live-in girlfriend was arguing with him. She ripped up a card that he had given her and threw it at him. The argument escalated from there, and she started slapping him in the face. The victim further advised that he held the defendant's arms down so she would stop hitting him, and the victim had visible scratches on his neck area. Our office has unfortunately not been in contact with him today. The state's recommending a $500 good bond, no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, 1 day of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And Your Honor, this is the defendant's first arrest. And if we could sound for Mr. Collins.
What's his first name?
Jerome, Jerone.
If Mr. Jerome Collins is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
Yes, I'm present. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Collins. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hands down. What would you like to tell the court?
Do you mind stating what you said at the end so I could address that? Because I didn't say any of those things, so I don't know. I was contacted today, but I never said that I didn't want her to come home. I absolutely want her in the house. I don't want any charges pressed. I would love for things to be dropped. This isn't a regular occurrence or not even close to it. So I would love for her to just be able to come home and just be over with, man. This is
so you're not afraid of her?
Not even close.
And you'd like her back in the household?
Please.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr. Collins. Mr. Ty?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 28 years old. She has lived in Georgia for 4 years. She works at a nonprofit called Music in Common, and she's also a musician. She did graduate from high school and earned a bachelor's degree at the Berklee College of Music, and then later, graduated from Emory University. She states that she's the one who called the police. She does want no violent contact and of course no stay away, as you heard from the complaining witness. It was a misunderstanding. He didn't want her arrested. And I understand in this case the bond may be restricted, but it is her very first arrest. I would ask for, again, a $1 good bond if a good bond has to be set, or a signature bond through pretrial services. Nothing further.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, no further violent contact with Mr. Collins, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Sinibaldi. Who do we have next?
Going to be position number 28, Miss Shannon, Sincere Shannon, at ACDC.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Shannon. You've been charged in case 24CR004246E with battery family violence. I've already, is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest for this defendant was March the 23rd, 2022 out of Clayton for obstruction. They have one arrest cycle in Georgia, with the exception of the restricted charge. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2. Nothing further to report.
Okay.
Judge, this is one of the dual arrest cases for a case you've already heard. Dwayne Gay is the other cross defendant. This incident occurred June 29th, 2024 at 1940 Fisher Road, apartment 66A in Atlanta. The victim in this case, Dwayne Gay, stated that the defendant is his child's mother. They were arguing. She struck him while he was laying down, pulled out some of his dreadlocks, and bit him on the cheek and chest. The defendant said that the victim was the primary aggressor. The police couldn't determine who the primary aggressor was and arrested both parties. For bond, Your Honor, this is defendant, I believe, is ineligible for a signature bond. However, she has very limited criminal history. The state's recommending a $500 good bond. I'll defer to the court regarding stay away and contact. I believe Your Honor said no further violent contact. In the last case, taking complete 1 day of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond.
Okay, who's representing Ms. Shannon?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, my client is 22 years old. She has a child who's 17 months old, and she tells me that she's also pregnant. I believe the cross-defendant is the father of both of the children, well, the one that's already born and the one that she is expecting. I would ask the court for no further violent contact, given the fact that they have one child and there is one child on the way. My client tells me that both of them called the police. I believe the state said that, I believe his counsel said that he was the one who called. But she tells me that they both did because they had a disagreement. And as the court knows, both of them were arrested. She's okay with no further violent contact. I would ask the court for a signature bond. I'm not sure. I believe I heard the state say she's not eligible, but I'm not sure why she's not eligible. Maybe I missed something. But in the event that she is actually not eligible, I would definitely go with the state's recommendation for the $500 good bond. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Hardy, would you tell me again, is she eligible or not?
The battery charge is a restricted charge.
Okay. So it'll be $100 good bond, no further violent contact with Mr. Gay, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you, Ms. Shannon.
Next is position number 29, Mr. St. Pierre.
Your Honor, this is another dual arrest case with Aana Wright, which is position 37.
She can come up to the chair in the ACDC.
Okay, let's see. Good afternoon, Mr. St. Pierre. Good afternoon. Also, Ms. Wright. Mr. St. Pierre, you've been charged in case 24CR004249A with battery family violence. Ms. Wright, you've been charged in case 24CR004255A with simple assault family violence. Let's start with Mr. St. Pierre. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
That defendant has 27 total arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia and Florida. The last arrest was December 14th, 2023 out of Spalding County for an FTA. There's a 2021 felony conviction for theft by conversion where they received first offender treatment, no seal dates listed. And then 2024, there's a felony conviction for forgery. Notwithstanding the restricted charge, the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2, nothing further to report.
Okay, and would you tell me about Ms. Wright's history? Ms. Hardy?
And which position is Ms. Wright?
She's 37.
Okay, and Ms. Wright has last arrest was February 10th, 2023 out of Cobb County for aggravated assault. There's just that one arrest cycle in Georgia. And the recommendation is a UJR level 2 for Ms. Wright, nothing further to report.
Okay.
As this incident took place June 30th, 2024, officers responded to a fight in progress call at 3378 Greenbrier Parkway, Unit 1207 in Atlanta. Miss Aana Wright advised that she and her live-in boyfriend, Mr. St. Pierre, were arguing because Mr. St. Pierre was being too loud. She asked him to lower his voice. He told her to shut the F up and go back to the bedroom, and then smacked her on the right side of her face, causing her to fall to the ground and injure her elbow. And Miss Wright also said Mr. Sear then choked her with his hand. Mr. St. Pierre advised that Miss Wright is the one who punched first but missed, and he was defending himself, trying to keep Miss Wright from hurting him. The police were unable to determine who the primary aggressor was. As far as Mr. St. Pierre goes, he does have 28 arrest cycles. The state is requesting a $2,500 good bond. I'll defer to the court regarding contact and who stays away. Taking complete 1 day of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And for Miss Wright, I'm showing that she does have an open ag assault case out of Cobb. The state's requesting a $1,000 good bond. Again, I'll defer to the court as far as contact and who stays away. Taking complete 1 day of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Who represents Mr. St. Pierre?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Kim.
Yes, my client is actually, he wants to have enough for the violent contact, and we would like to recommend for a signature on bond pretrial level 2 as he is recommended for that. Your Honor, he has 2 jobs. He works as a cook, and also he also starts his new job at TT Tag Insurance Company tomorrow. He is a sole provider for the family. He has a GED education. He does not have a lot of violence history. We would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial. Thanks.
Okay, Ms. McLeod, you represent Ms. Wright?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, my client is currently in college. She's a college student, Your Honor, so she is unemployed. I would be asking for signature bond for her. She tells me it was a misunderstanding between herself and the cross defendant. She does want to have contact with him, she tells me, Your Honor. So I would ask for any bond that she receives to be conditioned on no further violent contact. As for the one arrest that she has, Your Honor, she explained the circumstances to me, and we feel very confident that that charge is going to be dismissed and in regard to anyone at all that she was involved with. I don't want to go into all the details, but based on what she told me, I'm confident it's going to be dismissed against her. I would ask for signature bond for her, Your Honor.
Okay, so for Mr. St. Pierre, it will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Wright, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. For Ms. Wright, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. St. Pierre, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay, good luck to you both.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Who do we have next?
Next, we're going to go to position number 30, Mr. Brandon Staggs.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Stagg. You have been charged in case 24 CR 004260F with battery family violence. It's my understanding that there was a cross defendant for position number 17. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant, the last arrest was August 23rd, 2011, out of Lowndes County for theft by taking in false statements and writings. They have a total of 4 arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia, Tennessee, and Montana. There is a 2011 misdemeanor conviction for assault out of Tennessee. Notwithstanding the restricted charge, the recommendation for pretrial is a UJR level 1. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, this incident took place June 29th, 2024. Officers responded to a dispute call at 888 Juniper Street. Upon arrival, they made contact with the defendant who called the police. He stated that his girlfriend struck him in the face several times while on the elevator. The officer observed red marks and swelling. They made contact with the victim in this case, Ingred Malone. She stated that the defendant attacked her on the elevator and she grabbed and he kicked her in the chest, pressed his forearm against her face, causing visible injury to her lip and face. The police were unable to determine who the primary aggressor was. Your Honor, I do believe that this defendant is ineligible for a signature bond based on SB 63, and he does have some violent history. The state's requesting a $2,500 good bond. I'll defer to the court as far as contact and stay away. I believe you said no further violent contact, taking complete 1 day of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond.
It's my understanding that he is recommended for a UJR through pretrial. Is that not right, Ms. Hardy?
That is what she said, Your Honor.
So, yeah, that any family violence charge cannot get a signature bond anymore. That was my understanding of it. However, it's new and I'm reading through it, so.
Battery is one of the restricted charges.
Yeah, I think
okay. So what was
family
your
violence and a battery. So
what was your recommendation, Ms. Hardy?
Level 1.
Okay, so how could I do a level 1 if it's restricted? I'm confused.
I am too. Bear with me while I check with one of my supervisors.
Your Honor.
Well, Miss.
That person scored a level 1 on the PSA. And so she has to read that score out regardless of the score and the level that goes with that score. However, due to SB 463, he's really not eligible for pretrial release.
Okay, that would be helpful.
We give those in case the judge decides that they want to release them anyway. They are required to give that score regardless.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ms. Jordan. I appreciate
You're welcome.
it. I understand this is all new, so.
It is.
Okay. All right, I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing, so. Okay, thank you. So, I believe I was with you, Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client has not been arrested for, I believe the last time it was said was 2011. At least I thought that was what I heard. You know, I see absolutely no reason based on that since more than 10 years has passed since his last arrest. And I don't believe they said that there was a conviction that he should be entitled to a signature bond. But if there is a legal reason why he should not be entitled to a signature bond, I would ask the court to the lowest bond possible. This was a situation when my client was the one who called the police, because he contends that the cross-defendant was inebriated and she struck him in the face. And even the warrant states that that is what he told the police officers. As was stated earlier when she came on, they do not live together, but they do live in the same complex, but they maintain separate apartments. My client would like to have no further violent contact with her, and I would definitely ask, if not for signature bond, for a very low good bond. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll be $100 good bond, no further violent contact with Ms. Malone, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Staggs.
Thank you. Next is position number 31, Mr. Steagle.
Good afternoon, Mr. Seagal. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. You've been charged in case 24CR004261Y with giving false statement to law enforcement. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was February 28th, 2019 out of DeKalb for a DUI. There's a total of 8 arrest cycles in Georgia, misdemeanor convictions in 2012 and 2019, both for DUI. There also appears to be a hold out of Sparta, Wisconsin, for violating a court order. The date of that warrant is March the 12th, 2019. With the recommendation from pretrial is a UGR level 1. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, this incident took place June 29th, 2024. Officers were on a suspicious persons call at 600 Humphrey Street, Southwest in Atlanta. During the investigation, there were firearms and drugs found on several individuals. The defendant's son was one of those, and he was being arrested for possession of marijuana and possession of a stolen firearm. The defendant arrived on scene to get his son's vehicle because he was being arrested. He approached the police about why his son was being arrested, and he told the officers that the firearm that his son had was his, and he let him use it to film a music video. The officers continued to question him. He insisted that the gun was his. However, he could not describe anything about the gun to show it was actually his gun. He told the police that he bought it off the street from someone who bought it from a store. The officer asked him how he knows his purchases are legitimate, and his response was that he keeps his guns at home. That way he won't be caught with stolen property. Given the nature of this case, the state's recommending $1,000 good bond, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond.
Is this your case, Ms. McLeod?
It is my case, Your Honor.
Okay.
My client is the father of three children, actually. He has one minor and two adult children. He has no significant criminal history, Your Honor. I would ask the court to give him a signature bond so he can get out of jail, because he tells me that he is a father to a 2-year-old as well. He just tells me it was that he did not have all of the information. So when he spoke with the police officers, they figured they didn't like what he was telling him, so they decided to arrest him. So we would definitely be asking for signature bond under the circumstances, Your Honor, through the jail.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Who do we have next?
Will be position number 32, Mr. Zachary Stevenson. My apologies.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Stevenson. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004242F with battery family violence. Is there a history?
This defendant does not have any history, and notwithstanding the restricted charge, they are recommended for a UJR level 1. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, this incident took place March 3rd, 2024. Officers were dispatched to 40 Peachtree Valley Road in Atlanta. Upon arrival, they made contact with the victim, Mackenzie Douglas, who stated that she and her child's father were arguing. It turned physical when he struck her on the back and the arm. The victim had visible welts on her back. The defendant fled the scene. Our office has been in touch with Ms. Douglas. She states that the victim, she and the defendant have been together approximately 2 years. They have a 6.5-month-old daughter, and they reside at 2113 DeForest Ferry Road. Victim stated that they do not have a domestic violence history. She is not afraid of him. She confirmed the events in the warrants. She stated everything has been good since this incident happened in March. She would like to continue contact and would like for the defendant to return to the residence. Judge, this is the defendant's first arrest. However, I don't believe he's eligible for a signature bond based on SB 63. So the states would be requesting a $500 good bond, a no further violent contact with the victim, taking complete 1 day of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if we could sound for Mackenzie Douglas, I believe she's on the line.
Ms. Douglas is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so.
Hello, Your Honor.
Yes, good afternoon. Are you on more than one device?
No.
Okay, I was getting some feedback. Okay. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, Ms. Douglas?
As of right now, we had just moved. We are both students at Clark Atlanta University. And yeah, this situation happened in March. We knew nothing about the warrant, and I just really do want him to come home so that we can be a family, because I know, it's been a struggle. I started working and I've been having to ask family to watch the baby because he usually watches the child while I'm at work, or if he's at work, I watch her. And it's been a conflict, a schedule conflict, but that's all.
Are you afraid of him?
Definitely not. He's an amazing father and fiance.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Douglas. Ms. Kim?
Yes, my client is only 21 years young, Your Honor. He was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. He moved to Georgia about 3 years ago. He works and also go to school for full time. He's expected to graduate next year as a rising senior at Clark Atlanta College. Your Honor, he also works at church as a musician. He plays piano. So, Your Honor, this is his first arrest. That happened like 3.5 months ago. We would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial level 1. I think if Your Honor is restricted to give signature on bond because of SB 63, we would like to request for $1 cash bond, Your Honor. Thanks.
Okay, it'll be $100 good bond, no further violent contact with Ms. Douglas, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Stevenson. Who do we have next?
Next is going to be position number 33, Mr. Taylor, Michael Taylor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Taylor. You've been charged in case 24CR004259E with battery family violence. Is there a history?
This defendant's last arrest was September the 8th, 2011, out of Roswell for reckless conduct and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. That did lead to a conviction in 2012, misdemeanor conviction. There was also a 2009 driving while license suspended or revoked. Notwithstanding the restricted charge, the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 1. Nothing further to report.
Judge, this incident took place on June 11th, 2024. The victim, Bianca Lee, reported to police that she was sleeping when she was awakened by the defendant physically attacking her. She told him earlier that he couldn't live with her anymore, and he attacked her, grabbed her by the back of the neck. The officer noticed that the victim had several cuts and scratches on the sides of her neck, her arms, and her hand. Our office has been in touch with Miss Lee. She states that she and the defendant have been together for 8 years. They have 2 kids together. She states that the defendant used to live with her. They do not have a DV history. She is not afraid of him. She confirmed the events in the warrant and states that she does want a no contact and a stay away from her residence, which is 1100 Valley View Road Southeast, and a one-time police escort. Judge, he doesn't have any violent convictions. However, he does have 4 prior arrests for simple battery, family violence, battery, and simple assault. The state's recommending a $2,500 good bond, no further contact with the victim, a stay away from 1100 Valley View Road, taking complete anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And if we could sound for Miss Bianca Lee.
Ms. Lee is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Who's representing Mr. Taylor?
I do, Your Honor. I apologize. Well, Mr. Taylor I was actually calculating his age, 38 years old, Your Honor, and we have no objection to stay away and no contact as long as he gets one-time law enforcement officer escorted visit and third-party transfer for his children. He has been out of job because of his disability, and he does cut grass here and there, side hustles to get extra cash. However, he's still qualified for public defender services because of his financial indigency. We would like to request for the lowest possible bond, which is $1 cash bond. Thanks.
Okay, it'll be $100 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Lee, stay away from her residence. He can go back there on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Taylor.
Appreciate it, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Did I hear party transfer, Your Honor?
Yes, I said that, Ms.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very
Next
much.
is going to be position number 34, Ms. Turner and ACDC.
Okay, can you hear me, Ms. Turner? Yes? Okay, here we go.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Good afternoon, Ms. Turner. You've been charged in case 24CR004257A with battery family violence. Is there a history?
The last arrest for this defendant was January 29, 2024, out of DeKalb for criminal trespass and hit and run. With the exception of the restricted charge, the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2, nothing further.
Your Honor, I'm also showing that she has an arrest for battery from 2016, and the battery was dismissed, but she was also charged with a simple battery family violence. I can't see the disposition for that. This incident took place on June 28th, 2024. Officers were dispatched to 240 Grant Street in Atlanta regarding a dispute. And the victim, Briante Turner, advised that her sister and roommate were arguing over rent money. The victim tried to leave. The defendant attacked her, and the parties started fighting. The victim had bruising and red marks all over her body, and she advised that she got the injuries from the defendant. Our office has not been in touch with Ms. Turner today. Given her history, Judge, the state's requesting a $2,500 surety bond. No further contact with Ms. Turner. A stay away from the incident location. Taking complete 1 day of anger awareness. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if the court can sound for Briante Turner.
If Briante Turner is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is actually 25 years young, and she has been here in Georgia ever since 2016. And Your Honor, this is their apartment together, and she's the one who has been paying for the apartment rent. However, they're actually getting evicted, and today is the last day that they have to move out from the place. So they're gonna be having significant challenges financially. She has 2 jobs, one as a caregiver at Georgia Home, and also she draws the blood. Your Honor, she has the allegation as a first aggressor. However, she does not want her sister to go to jail either. She would rather go herself than her sister being in the jail. She is very thoughtful. She's going to be going into medical assistant certification program from next month. We would like to request for maximum $100 good bond. Thanks.
Okay, it'll be $100 good bond, no further violent contact with Ms. Turner, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you.
Your Honor, what was that bond amount? I apologize.
No, you're fine. 100 good.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Next is going to be position number 36, Mr.
Right,
Wise.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wise. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004251A with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history?
Yes, Your Honor. This defendant, the last arrest was September 25th, 2023 out of Clayton County for a probation violation. They have 14 arrest cycles in Georgia. A felony conviction in 2017 for theft by taking, enter an auto, theft by receiving. They received first offender, and it was sealed on 2022. They're on probation, currently on probation. That number is 18 SC 160187. And there also appears to be a holdout of Jonesboro for a probation violation. The date of that warrant is May the 28th, 2024. Notwithstanding, that recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 3. Nothing further to report.
Judge, this incident took place June 27th, 2024. Officers were dispatched to a hit and run at 3150 Washington Road in East Point. While the officer was gathering all of the information from the involved parties to the accident, the officer asked the defendant for his license. The defendant gave his license and he ran it. It came back with 3 active warrants for entering auto, theft by taking, vehicle theft, driving without a valid license, speeding, and failure to use turn signal. The officer approached the defendant, asked him to come with him. The defendant fled. He eventually had to be tased, and he continued to resist arrest once he was handcuffed. Your Honor, I believe it's my understanding that SB 63 includes willful obstruction as one of the charges that is no longer eligible for a signature bond. And given his history, the state's recommending a $500 good bond, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's 5 o'clock.
Oh, yes, Your Honor. My client is, well, he has almost 3 kids, Your Honor, 2 kids and 1 on the way. He is gainfully employed at Dunkin' Donuts, and he studied up to 11th grade and got GED, even though he is working full-time because he has to support his 3 minor children, almost 3. He is not able to hire any private attorney. He will be qualified for public defender services. And Your Honor, we would like to request for a maximum $100 good bond. Thank you. He's got 2 foreign county holds and probation violation, and he's not going nowhere, Your Honor.
All right, give me $100 good bond, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Wise.
All right, can we go to the add-on calendar?
Okay.
We're gonna go to position number 1, Mr. Belcher.
Good afternoon, Mr. Belcher. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004268E with 2 willful obstructions of a law enforcement officer, a simple assault, and another misdemeanor offense. Is there history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant's last arrest was November 30th, 2023 out of Athens for theft by shoplifting, possession and use of drug-related objects, and possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. There appears to be an open case out of Brookhaven for theft by shoplifting, also a hold out of Brookhaven for an FTA. There are misdemeanor conviction in 2022 for criminal trespass, 2021 theft by shoplifting. There was a 20 out of South Carolina. There was a 2021 conviction for the charge that you waived sounding on. The recommendation for pretrial is a UJR level 3. Nothing further to report.
Who's presenting for the state?
What position is this? I mean, what's the defendant's name?
This is the add-on 1, Belcher.
Belcher. One moment, Your Honor. I'm presenting it, Your Honor. The facts of this case is that essentially on June 8th, 2024, the defendant was seen in a state of complete undress at the location of Academy of Medicine in their parking lot. That location is 875 West Peachtree Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia. 2 officers attempted to get him to the vehicle. The indicia for the simple assault, as well as the indicia for one of the willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. He made several attempts to spit at that officer. And then the indicia for the other one is the resisting arrest. Your Honor, the state, given the nature of the charge, the state's request is a $3,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a stay away. And this is also a charge that qualifies under SB 63.
Who's representing Mr. Belcher?
This is my case, Your Honor. Your Honor, given the allegations in the warrant and then the officer's own statements, it appears that Mr. Belcher was experiencing some sort of mental health crisis episode. Especially given the nature of the charges. Mr. Belcher did express to me that he does have diagnosed MH. He does also take medication. However, he hadn't been able to receive any of his medication for the past I believe he said 4 months. He doesn't have any family in Georgia. He does still reside in the South Atlanta area. He doesn't have any children. He completed the 9th grade. He's been unemployed and residentially challenged for the past 4 years. He was able to provide that he fell on hard times after his father passed away 4 years ago. Since then, again, Your Honor, he's just been on bad terms. But Mr. Belcher is 31 years of age. He currently has a open felony case in which he received a $10,000 bond this morning on. He's not going to be able to make any bond amount. I would ask the court to consider that. He also has a Brookhaven County hold. Mr. Belcher expressed that he believed that should have been resolved, but I did inform him that until it can be corrected or resolved in a manner, he would not be able to get released from custody. But given all of that, Your Honor, I would be asking for a low bond amount of no more than $100.
Okay, it'll be $50 good bond on each charge, makes for a total of a $200 good bond. Stay away from the incident location. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Belcher.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next is gonna be position number 2, Mr. Prince Jordan.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jordan. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004269C with battery and 2 counts of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Is there a history?
The last arrest for this defendant was March the 4th, 2024, out of Cobb County for an FTA. There's a felony conviction in 2022 for theft by receiving where they received first offender treatment and no seal dates listed. There appears to be a hold out of Decatur for trespassing. The date of that warrant is May the 19th, 2024. Notwithstanding the restricted charge, the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 3. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, this incident took place June 29th, 2024. Officers responded to a domestic dispute call at 3478 Lakeside Drive in Atlanta. The complaining witness, Alexi Reynos, advised that her sister and the victim in this case, Chelsea Reynos, was fighting with her boyfriend, and she saw him strike her across the face in front of the victim's 2 children, juveniles MR and SR. The victim, who had a big red mark on her face where she was slapped, looked terrified. She didn't really want to cooperate with the police. She was concerned about the defendant retaliating against her. Our office has been in touch with her today. She states that she and the defendant are no longer in a relationship. They don't live together. They do not have children together. She stated that the incident location is her residence. She wouldn't really give us much more than that. She just said she is fine. She is okay with a no contact and a stay away. Our office, in light of his recent criminal history, the state's requesting a $3,500 good bond, $2,500 on the battery, $500 on each cruelty, no further contact with any of the victims, a stay away from the incident location, taking complete 2 days of anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if we could sound for Ms. Reynos.
Ms. Reynos is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Ms. Thomas.
Your Honor, Mr. Jordan declined the services, declined our services.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
I was trying to call you. He said he wanted to be interviewed by you. I tried to call you like 3 times, but you didn't pick up.
Okay, well, that must have been when I was on the phone with a client. But obviously that must have been within the past 30 minutes, Your Honor. So I haven't had a chance to speak with him, and I'll defer to the court if you want me to take a break out, but in the essence of time, I'll just defer to the court.
Can you call him, Ms. Thomas?
I can give, let me see. Yes, I'll give that number a call back. The 44. Yep, I'll give a call back, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Your Honor, so we can go to position number 3 on the add-on. I don't know if that's Ms. Thomas or not. I doubt it.
Who's representing position 3? Mr. Smart?
Oh, that's Ms. Kim.
That would be me. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so let's go to Mr. Smart then. Good afternoon, Mr. Smart. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004270Y with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest for this defendant was April the 3rd, 2024, out of the city of Atlanta for unlawful use of a wireless device. There's 6 cycles in Georgia, 6 arrest cycles in Georgia. Misdemeanor conviction in 2023 for reckless conduct and simple battery family violence. Notwithstanding the current restricted charge, the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2. Nothing further to report.
Judge, this incident took place June 29th, 2024. The victim, Omalara Joseph, reported a battery to police. She stated that she was arguing with her child's father about content she found on his phone. The defendant told the victim, to get out of his car, and she did not, and he punched her in the face. The victim sustained a cut lip from the incident. Our office has been in touch with her. She states that she and the defendant are no longer in a relationship. They no longer live together. They do have a child together. She stated that the incident location is her residence. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated this is not the first time the defendant has been violent towards her. She stated that there is an open case in DeKalb County from October 2022 where he currently has a no further violent contact order against her. She stated that the defendant has been violent with her on other occasions when she just never called the police. She wants no contact and wants him to stay away, and she is not agreeable to a third-party transfer of their child. Your Honor, the open case in DeKalb is different from the first offender conviction from 2023. So there is a first offender conviction for battery from 2023, and then the open battery family violence case from DeKalb. The state, in light of the history, and given that this is now the second incidence with this victim, the state's requesting a $5,000 good bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, taking complete family violence intervention program, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if we could sound for Ms. Joseph.
Ms. Joseph is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so.
Yes.
Yes, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
I seen a lot of underage girls under the age of 16 with him masturbating to them. I'm not allowing him to talk to my son or be around him because of these incidents, and I've reported to the detective, and he will be going over that incident. This is why I want no contact with them. He's been taking my phone from me, put marks on my body, my face, and suffocating me so I can't call the police. Gwinnett County have heard me screaming, stuff like that, and this is not the first time he done take my son from me and told me I can't see him again.
And totally,
he told me that I didn't want to see my son, and he just drove off. He threw myself out the car. He pushed me in my face. I told him I didn't want to drive off with my son because I don't trust him around anybody that is underage.
Your Honor, this is totally irrelevant. And also, my client says that she does have an MH issue. Your Honor, I do not want to go any further details, but for the record, we deny the allegation.
I've never been arrested or anything, so I know I have not did no harm to my son. Neither have I been with underage girls. So I do not trust him with my son because he is a minor. He's a baby.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Joseph. Let's see, it'll be a $2,000 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Joseph, stay away from her residential address, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Your Honor, can I address the court?
Mr. Smart, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. This is just a bond hearing today. I'm sure that Ms. Kim would advise you that if you need to speak with her, that she'll give you that opportunity, but whatever you say can be used against you.
I would like to waive front so I can address the court.
Ms. Kim, would you like to address your client?
I couldn't hear, Mr. Would you please give me a call? We can discuss further later. But I would like to defend for Mr. Smart, Your Honor. He has been here in Georgia for the last 6 years, and I mean he was born and raised here, Your Honor. They have been broken up, Your Honor. They have a 1-year-old child together. However, he has been living separately in a different place with another person. They broke up. They don't have a relationship. He has another baby coming on. He's gainfully employed at Global Bank as an apprentice. He's been working there for the last 2 years. He has a GED. He also has a technical college education, Your Honor.
College.
He does not. We would like to disagree with anything everything that she said. Yeah, that's all, Your Honor.
May I address, I just need 2 seconds, sir, Your Honor.
Well, Ms. Kim, you want to? I'm going to let him speak unless you
I would waive all, I'm gonna waive my right to remain silent.
Okay. What would you like to tell the court, Mr. Smart?
I would like to say that my son is important of all things. I would like to do third party, transfer the child on Fridays as agreed upon. And there can be no contact with Miss Omalora. That day I was trying to break up with her and drop her off at her home safely. I didn't step outside of the car. She was kicking me. She stabbed me from the outside of the car. I was buckled in and I was only trying to leave. I was never there to prevent her from spending time with her child. I said I would drop them off after our father-son outing. I had not touched her whatsoever. I was at the hospital because I got stabbed because she threw a cologne bottle at my window. I had not physically harmed Omalora that day whatsoever. And my son, above all things, I need to be able to establish a relationship with him. So on the weekends, I would love to have no contact with Miss Omalora and be able to spend time with my son. That's what matters most.
Okay. So I'm going to have, I'm not sure what custody arrangements there is, if any, but I'll have them abide by any pre-existing visitation arrangements. Okay. So it'll be a $2,000 good bond, no further contact with Miss Joseph, stay away from her residential address, and abide by any pre-existing visitation arrangements.
And Your Honor, that pre-existing visitation arrangements, are you referring to court orders?
Yes.
Okay, so if there's no court order, then, well, I would just request if Superior Court can handle that side of it.
There was no court order for any visitation with him.
Okay.
He was supposed to be going there for a blood test. He has not did that yet, so there is no legitimization.
I've been legitimized through court, and we've done all of that.
Okay, well, you'll have to handle all that in Superior Court, Mr. Smart. So, all right, good luck to you all.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good day. Your Honor, we ready on the add-on to Mr. Prince Jordan.
Okay, Ms. Thomas?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Jordan is 22 years of age. He does deny the allegations of any physical altercations, especially in the presence of any children. Says that this was a verbal altercation with his girlfriend at the time. However, we defer to the court. We are requesting no further violent contact, but again, we'll defer to the court as far as any contact between the parties. They do not share any children, and they do not reside together. Mr. Jordan did express that he's currently going through hard times, currently residentially challenged. He's on his own. He stated that his mother had fell on hard times as well. His brothers had recently passed within the year of each other, so the family had just been going through it. The mother is unable to offer any financial assistance or any support at this current time, and I don't believe Mr. Jordan has a current relationship with his father. I'm not sure if I heard that correctly, Mr. Jordan, but nonetheless, Mr. Jordan is currently unemployed as well, Your Honor. He did complete high school. And let's see. And that's it, Your Honor. He completed high school, but he's currently unemployed, residentially challenged, doesn't have the financial means to make any bond amount. So we will be asking for the court to consider granting him a UJR if he's eligible for one, or a bond amount no more than $500.
Okay, for the battery, it'll be $500 good bond. Each cruelty a $250 good bond makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. No further contact with the alleged victims. A social worker visit to assist with housing, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you, Mr. Jordan.
Appreciate it, Your Honor. We're going to go back to the regular calendar. We're going to go to position number 15, Mr. Marco Leonard.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Leonard. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004241E with battery family violence. Is there a history?
Last arrest was July 22nd, 2022 out of Henry County for an FTA. There's 11 arrest cycles in Georgia, felony conviction in 2004 for aggravated assault. The recommendation from pretrial, notwithstanding the restricted charge, is a UJR level 1, nothing further.
A brief facts of the case is that on June 28, 2024, the officer responded to a dispatch call at 289 Florida Avenue Southwest in regards to a dispute with a weapon. The caller originally stated that the male that was living in the home threatened to shoot everyone in the house. The victim advised the defendant had a habit of being violent towards him. His name is Reginald Moss. The victim also advised that the defendant left his home and stated that he would come back and shoot everyone in the house. He advised that earlier that day, he and the defendant had gotten into a physical altercation where the defendant punched him in the face. The victim showed the officer his lip, which had an injury inside of it that the officer observed as being busted. The recommendation from the state is a $1,500 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, and the completion of an anger awareness course. Unfortunately, we're not able to get in contact with Mr. Moss, so if you can sound for him in accordance with Marshall's law, that'd be greatly appreciated, but there's nothing further to add from the state at this time.
If Reginald Moss is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Mr. Ty.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 44 years old. He is the father of 2 children, including 1 minor child, 16 years old. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He does have strong ties to the community. He has his family here. He did earn a GED and is gainfully employed. He does firmly deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. He doesn't even own a weapon, Your Honor. He does not live at that location. He states that he was actually arrested on June 26th and has paperwork from Grady to and was cuffed to a bed at Grady on June 26th. The booking sheet does indicate that he was arrested on June 28th. It does say PM, but according to the warrant, he was arrested at the time of the incident, the alleged incident, and that would have been at 1:30 a.m. So I do believe that this is a Riverside issue. And I would ask for a signature bond through the jail, although he is still recommended for a signature bond through pretrial services. He has been held over 72 hours as of 1:30 this morning. And no further contact with the complaining witness and stay away from the Florida Avenue address. I have no objection, and I would object to the 1-day anger awareness. He does firmly deny the allegations as stated in the warrant.
Okay, it'll be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Reginald Moss. Stay away from the incident location. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Leonard.
Your Honor, this is going to be position number 22, Mr. Merkel. I believe there was a breakout requested for that, and also position 20 waived the appearance.
Yes.
Okay. Who's position 20? What's the name?
McCoy.
Also breakout room, Your Honor.
Okay, this is position 22. Mr. Merkel is my understanding.
That is correct.
Okay. So do we need a breakout room, or do we just need to go off of video or go off of YouTube?
Going off of YouTube is fine, Your Honor.
Okay. So can we
Yeah.
Yes.
Excuse me, this is Ms. Grace. If we go off of YouTube, I won't be able to connect. So can we do it in a breakout room?
Okay. Who needs to be in the breakout room?
I do.
Myself, Ms. Desiano, Mr. Ty,
I
courtroom
would like to
two.
be on there too, Your Honor.
I'd like to be there just for pacing, Your Honor.
Okay. And can we also put pre-trial also, please?
Courtroom 2, the judge is requesting you in the breakout room.
Oh, okay, that's the first, not a problem.
Judge, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson, we have had the opportunity to discuss Mr. McCoy's case. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so, if you're still with us there.
Yes, I am.
Yes, ma'am. We understand your son's that he's having some difficulties at the present time. The court has given him $1,000 good bond. We're going to send a social worker out to visit him to see if we can assist in any other way. We've also we'll have him for now stay away from you and your residence. Okay.
Yes, he need alcohol and drug treatment.
Okay. So we'll try to see if we'll have a social worker visit him, as I said, and I'll revisit this along with his attorney, Ms. Kim. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. I appreciate you being here this afternoon.
All right, then. Thank you.
And also, let me sound for position number 22. If either a Williams or a Wells is on the line and wishes to address the court in the James Merkel case. Doesn't appear so. Okay. Does that conclude the 2 o'clock calendar?
I believe it does.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay, once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is July 16th. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 2 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Position 3, SAP calendar with a total $500 good bond. Position 4, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 5 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. Position 6, SAP calendar with a total $500 good bond. Position 7, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 8, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 9 is going to the SAP calendar with a $250 good bond. Position 10, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. 11, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 12 is going to the SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. 13, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 14, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 15, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. 16 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. 17, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 18, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 19 is reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial with the co-signer Tamika Sears. 20 is going to the SAP calendar with the $1,000 good bond. 21 is reset further notice with the $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 22, reset further notice with a total $2,500 SOB through the jail. 23, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. 24, reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 25 is reset to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 total good bond. 26, SAP calendar with a $100 good bond. 27, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. 28 is going to the SAP calendar with a $100 good bond. 29, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 30 is going to the SAP calendar with a $100 good bond. 31, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. 32 is going to the SAP calendar with a $100 good bond. 33, SAP calendar with a $100 good bond. 34, going to the SAP calendar with a $100 good bond. 35 is reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial with the co-signer being Katerick Willcox Sr. It was the junior that was on the calendar and the senior is posting the bail as the co-signer. 36 is going to the SAP calendar with a $100 good bond. 37, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 38, SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. On the add-on calendar, position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $200 good bond. Position 2, SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. And position number 3, SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise? No?
All right.
All
If
right,
not-
it's on its way to you.
All right. Thank you all. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good evening.
Okay.
Have a good one, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Bridgewater, is Mr. Jordan still there with you?
I hope so.
Okay. Would you let him know that I plan on coming in tomorrow for the SAP calendar?
I will.
And if he'll make sure that there's some personnel there for me.
I certainly will.
All right. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Oh, long day. I
We're gonna leave
appreciate
it
it.
at that, okay?
All right. See you next time.
Bye-bye.